Everything's working, David. Everything's working.
Oh, knock on.
I got here very nervously. Both computers were off that I use, and something happened. Restart your PC. I'm all right. I mean that scares the hell out of me.
Sure.
Because how long is it going to take to restart?
Right.
Fortunately, they both started reasonably quickly. So had to have a little bonding time with the one cat this morning. The cat wanted to have coffee with me. It took me a couple more minutes than normal.
I could see where.
Bless you.
Thank you.
We went to Savannah on Saturday. That was our, we checked out. We were supposed to be out by 10. We left at like 7 because we wanted to get to Savannah. Went and had a dinner. Even I went and had a few drinks. And man, did I make time from Savannah yesterday. And oh my God, the number of people from places north that must have gone to Orlando for the weekend. Oh my God. I get on at Ocala. Right. Cut through. I beeped the horn and waved as I went through Jacksonville. And, you get off at 30 or whatever. You get off at
301.
You get back on at whatever that street is, 77th Street or whatever it is at Ocala there. And I mean, the lineup of cars in Ocala, bumper to bumper going north, all the way to the turnpike. And I mean, stop and start for 40 miles going north. You could not believe the number of people that must have done Disney for, the Orlando
Right.
the 4th. Jesus.
So did you go to Jacksonville and do like 20 miles on I-10 and then take 301? Yeah. That's the way to do it.
We went to a bar when I was in Savannah for a wedding 4 or 5 years ago now, called Pinky something. Hang on. I got the name here. I have it written down. Pinky Masters. Carter actually was there when he campaigned in 76. It is a dive bar of all dive bars. Guinness Draft, 16-ounce PBR can, $10.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to find this upscale bar and happened to stumble. Eve's like, isn't that? I'm like, no. And so we walked in there. It was just tremendous.
That's awesome.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this first Monday of July. How was your holiday weekend? Hope it was great. Thanks for being back with us. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. The dynamic duo back in full force as Mark is back from his vacay. How was the family vacay?
Outstanding. Had a terrific time.
Great.
Really had, my son and my daughter had a lot of time together, which was great because they obviously don't see each other and there's a tremendous age difference between the two of them. We were very close to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and their kids, and their daughter spent the night one night. So my daughter got to spend time with her cousins for 3-4 days there, which was terrific. So some bonding time with cousins, which is great because obviously they're in Pittsburgh and we're here. We don't see them that often. So great trip. The weather was better than expected. We had one rain day. We were supposed to have like 4. So to only have one bad day out of the 7 we were there, David, the weather was tremendous. The one day I played golf on Monday, it was warm, but not hot. Other than that, it was like 80 degrees, no humidity, getting down to like, 58, 60 degrees at night. It was a tremendous break from Southwest Florida summers.
So, in other words, it was Florida in, Thanksgiving to late January.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's awesome. That's fantastic. I mean, when you have a vacation, you put a lot of time and effort into it. You want it to be great. So that's awesome. Glad to hear it.
Couple of leisurely drives, David. You'd have been proud of me. I mean, we plugged about 10 and a half hours day one of each drive and about 6 hours on day two of each drive.
Oh, nice.
Put some miles on the wife's car.
Absolutely. Did you go with the satellite radio and the sports while they all wore their headsets and listened to what they listened to?
For the most part, I did listen to 3 entire radio baseball broadcasts.
Oh my goodness.
I caught Tigers Twins on Saturday on the drive up. The Tigers had a 1 o'clocker in Minneapolis, so I listened to that. That was great. I think Tigers lost that one, but that was fine. And then on the way home on Saturday, the early game was the Rays on Saturday when they blew that big lead. Kevin Cash takes out Taj Bradley, and the bullpen just chokes like a hairy dog, and they lose that game. And then yesterday, listen to the Tigers. And David, you and I talk about this, and this is, I'm a Tiger fan, obviously, but it is amazing when it's going right for you, the things that happen. I mean, the Tigers, up until the 10th inning and into the 9th inning, had won a 1-0 game and a 2-1 game so far against Cleveland. They are trailing 1-0 in the 9th. There are 2 outs in the 9th inning. They had put a pinch runner on. The pinch runner, McKinstry, who should be an all-star, gets to third base. And because they make the switch to McKinstry, who's their best base runner, and he comes in for Torkelson, who's the first baseman, he's got a big lead on third. Passed ball, which they called a wild pitch. Happened to listen to both announce crews because I got home in the middle of the game and couldn't quit the radio broadcast, David. Got home and listened to the app on my phone in the living room. Because I'd invested 3 hours in this game, for crying out loud. But a pass ball, he's able to score and force extra innings, and the Tigers win. And that to me, you've talked about this for the nearly 20 years we've done a show, how tough it is to give a team 4 outs. In this case, it was a pass ball. It wasn't really an out. But all of a sudden, they just gave the good team a chance, and the Guardians, who had lost 9 in a row, end up losing 10 in a row because they get pummeled in extra innings. And it's amazing to me that tiny difference between a winning team and a losing team sometimes. How winning teams find ways and losing teams also find ways to lose. It's staggering to me.
And while I like everything you had to say, I'm most focused on the fact that the wife was probably saying, hey, we need to unpack the car. And you're like, the heck with that. I'm listening. I got to get the app going. It's the 9th inning.
Oh, unpacked the car, had the app on. I'm carrying the phone from room to room as I'm unpacking, listening to the game.
The beauty of sports on the radio, but especially baseball.
Baseball's great for a drive. There is baseball and NASCAR are the 2 best sports to listen to while driving. They're a little timeless, and all of a sudden, however many laps go by, and you've gone so far. But a baseball game, an inning, a long inning with a pitching change, you can knock 40 miles out without batting an eye. And I will say, with all of that driving, the people who hog the left lane irritate me even more.
Gotta know when to pull over. Come on, it's a passing lane. It's a passing lane. It's
and
not
to those who disagree with that statement, And yeah, you know who I'm talking to if you're awake. Have you seen any signs that say slower traffic, keep left? That's all I'm asking. Because the signs are there in every single state. And I drove through Florida, Georgia, North and South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, and Maryland in the last couple of days. And not in one state did it say slower traffic, keep left. It specifically said slower traffic, keep right. And let's just review. If I'm doing 84 and you're doing 80, who's slower? That's all.
Feel better?
A little bit.
By the way, you start rattling off the states. When I was a kid, my mother and I, we went on a couple of trips, and I used to collect stickers for every state. That was the thing. Mom, we got to pull over. I need a sticker. All right, I need the state stickers. Then, on the way home, you're counting stickers. I mean, not a lot of entertainment in the 70s in the AM, FM radio, maybe 8-track cassette if you're lucky days.
Right. Yeah, I like to play the license plate game. See how many different states you see on the trip. And
yeah, there you go. There is that. All right, Miller and Moulton on this first Monday of July, and it was a good holiday weekend of sports. Nothing crazy, I don't think. And, Ryan Spader will join us to talk a little baseball. Who
booked himself.
Kind of.
By the way, Ryan kind of booked himself.
Kind of. Because was it the day the season was starting or the day before the season was starting? So we have Ryan Spader on, and he says, I don't see how the Braves are going to win 85 games. We're like, wait, what? I was incredulous. I'm like, what are you talking about? I go, by the way, I am going to the World Series. He's like, yeah, I just don't see it. Okay. And he said, I was saving that for what I do for a living, but no, I'll give it to you guys and, put it out there. So we did. And needless to say, Braves Nation, went after him, whatever. He said, I just don't think you're going to have a good year. Now, there's no way for Ryan to know that 4/5 of their starting rotation would be on the injured list heading into the All-Star break and what have you, but they ain't going to win 85 games. Hell, at this rate, I hope they win 75. They're playing so badly, got so many guys hurt. So Ryan has about every 4 weeks, put that opening day post on X. He has retweeted it. Although I guess technically, do you repost it?
Technically.
I guess. Anyway. And so he did it for the 3rd time, in which he said, I ought to give those guys a call. So we said, tell you what, we'll call you. So Ryan Spader will join us to talk a little baseball in a couple hours, and we'll head to Houston in the bonus hour, talk a little soccer. U.S. losing to Mexico, not unexpected. But, oh man, losing to Mexico. Well, they had their World Cup team and we didn't. But we'll talk to Glenn Davis about what, if anything, the U.S. accomplished in this Gold Cup. I know it was a big day for soccer in Houston, and I guess Houston's going to host like 7 World Cup matches. And, it was a home game for Mexico.
Home game for Mexico. Always fun to see a game on U.S. soil where the crowd is easily rooting for the opposition.
I was going to say the last 3 matches the U.S. played in the Gold Cup were road matches. So don't know if that'll ever change. By the way, I really don't know if that will ever change. Miller and Moulton. So did you watch any of Wimbledon?
No, really, no. My mom had it on one day. I think I threw in the morning. She threw it on. I did not have the TV on. I tried when my mother put the TV on, and I would wait for a moment to just turn it off. We had the TV on Sunday night to watch Tigers and Twins to watch Scooble pitch. Other than that, I did not turn the television on. A couple of nights when we were up late, My son and I went to YouTube to watch music, but I really tried to stay
I
away
gotcha.
from electronics. But I know that every seeded player seemingly lost.
I
mean,
just
the record for most seeds losing in the first match and all of
well,
those things. So I
I
paid
I just brought it up because I know how much you love your morning sports. That's all. So I know you wish you were still on vacation, but you're back at least for week 2 of Wimbledon. Okay, you've got sports on in the morning while we're doing the show. I also don't know if you saw while you were on vacation that Twins Tigers Sunday Night Baseball rating. Did you see it?
Yes, monster.
Monster, like Yankees, Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers, Mets, Dodgers rating. Yes. For Twins Tigers, Skubal with a one-hitter for 7. Yeah,
He's
monster
pretty good.
rating. Yeah, he really is. He really is.
And because of his agent, he's going to be a free agent. And that makes it difficult as a Tiger fan to deal with, hoping that they're able to keep him. But, Scott Boras and, well, what he's going to try to get.
Show the man his money, and then you'll keep him.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Everything okay?
Yeah, this is wonderful. They don't have the computer set up right, so none of their commercials are running. It's playing the other show right now, and Chris Beasley's not answering his text. And I don't know how to fix it, but I'm not going to run dead air for 4 minutes.
Okay, Jay Gunn, we just explained the station's computer is not working properly, so it will not play the local commercials. So our choice is to run dead air.
Guys, we are on.
Yeah.
We're on. Okay.
We're on.
We're on the air. It's going to be that way for the next 2 minutes and 6 seconds, and then we'll come back on. Because we were on air. We were on air for the whole first segment, Johnny Mac.
So it's not our doing. It's actually the station whose studios we're borrowing. It's their fault. We'll get it fixed.
Well, I am happy, but it's hard when you literally explain something and then you guys come back on and didn't listen to what we said and say, well, you guys aren't on the air. I literally just said it. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's only a little, but guy's making 700 million. He'll be okay. And when you have to guarantee a roster spot for somebody on every team, you're going to have people who should have made it who didn't.
By the way, should Bregman? We're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. On this first Monday of July, coming out of the 4th of July weekend, Mark back from vacation, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
Quick programming note for those listening in the Fort Myers, Naples market. They screwed up. They are supposed to set the computer up to air our show. They did not do that. So they are an ESPN affiliate. That show is currently running. I have to turn it off when we come on the air. When we go to commercial break, I have two choices. Dead air during when they run their affiliate commercials or run that show. So to not have dead air, I'm running what they are playing for those 4 to 5 minutes, depending on the break. So I apologize that you're getting their show. I have reached out to them, but they are not answering this morning. So I apologize to all of you that you have to listen to that show. I'd rather you didn't, but that's the case. When it's fixed, it's fixed. Until then, in order to not have dead air, a really bad thing on radio, we're going to run whatever's I'm just going to pot it up when it's their turn to run commercials. So can't do anything about it, guys. I apologize.
While you were gone, I did 75% of what I should have done. You know I don't do good, bad, and ugly when you're gone.
I didn't even bother with it. I didn't. I
Right.
saw a story here and there and didn't even send them to you.
Nope, that's your thing. Okay. It's Mark Miller with the good, bad, and ugly. Mark Miller wasn't here. I don't do the good, bad, and ugly.
If it were sponsored, he would be forced to do it.
I would. And I have
That's a great reason for someone to jump up and sponsor that segment, if for anything other than to force David Moulton to do that segment when I'm gone for the 4 days a year that I miss this show.
I was all over the text line. All over the text line. Not only did I read just about every single text on the air, I responded to probably 70% of the texts that we received through the show on Thursday. I have not checked the text line since. I have no idea if we've received any texts. I have not responded to them. I'm probably not going to respond to them. But so I didn't do a poll question because I don't know how. And I'm sure it's easy. And I'm sure it'll take you 1 minute and 37 seconds one day to show me. And I'll go, oh. And you'll shake your head and go, unbelievable. Can't believe I work with him. I really can't. All right. But no poll question and no good, bad, and ugly. But, you know, between Rick getting us on the air and then the other stuff that you do on air, you know, I'd say we, you know, 63 to 71% replaced you.
Excellent. I'm all for it. When do I get a day off again?
Labor Day. Hello. Speaking of days, the magic numbers are 52 and 59.
There you go. That's one of the reasons I leave, because they're numbers that seem still large. They're all in double digits, but when you go away, you know, for 9 days, essentially, they take a few off there. That's what I wanted to hear.
I mean, for those of you who get all geeked up, if you see helmet and shoulder pads, it's 24 days to the Hall of Fame game. We don't count that. We don't even count week 0 in college football. 4 games, only one of them involving power conference teams. And besides, it's the Big 12. How much power is there? Hello. Starting early, Ed. So there you have it. And Michael in our Twitch chat room said, I like Rick. Okay. In fact, he said, I love Rick. I think he should be a producer for the show. But we offered the job to him. He said, wait a minute. I got to get up at what time? Every day? No, I'm good. We said, no, really, we'll pay you. Okay. More than we paid the last guy. No, really. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, in all truth be told, we can't afford them.
No.
That's just a fact. Without more sponsor dollars, it's Miller and Moulton. This is a mom and pop shop. We got a little stand out front. You buy your eggs, you leave your money in the container, and we move on.
You know?
I do love that when you get out in the sticks, because as we were driving through West Virginia and Maryland on our way to our house that we stayed at for the week, it was the country, two-lane road country. And there were stands for firewood and a little couple of produce stands, and there's no one manning those.
Right.
You know, they got a price there, and you just leave the money.
Right. It's the honor system.
Yeah. It's fantastic. So
now, was your first reaction, this is fantastic, or was your first reaction to laugh and go, boy, this wouldn't work where I'm from?
no, I love it. I love when you get to any part of the world that just life slows down a notch. I really do.
I hear you.
I'm all for it. But, you know, yesterday got home, watched a little golf. It put me to sleep. And as someone said in the Twitch chat room, man, was CBS pulling for Max Homa. They had
Yeah.
nobody that was a name on the leaderboard. And Homa proceeds, I think it was 16. He 3-putts. He missed a par putt there coming into the 17th, the par 5. And he was about done at that. Had to make eagle, and it didn't happen. But they were pulling hard for Max Homa, who had a good tournament. He's been playing poorly, played well for 4 days. That's a good sign for him because he's had a tough year.
But listen, Nance took the week off, and there weren't a lot of names in the field. And so they were like, we got a name. And he jumped out to the lead on Sunday. Birdied 3 of the first 4 holes. He had the lead for most of the front 9. It was like, yeah, we're going to ride this Max Homa train. I mean, come on, it's the John Deere Classic. You know, where are we? Iowa, Illinois, or which side of the border are we on? You know, oh, this year we're in the Illinois side. Got it. I mean, John Deere did get a lot of love. I mean, in fact, I don't know of a sponsor that got more love all year on the PGA Tour. Every single cutaway they had was kids riding a John Deere tractor.
Unless they were showing fields of corn to remind you what the John Deere tractors are for.
Right. But, wow. You put on the John Deere Classic, huh? You needed a nap.
That's what I did.
From your
I did it specifically for that. I came home like, this will knock me out.
Yes, it will.
After a long drive and a little baseball in the car. Oh, it was perfect.
Well, you know what drove me to the nap? That street race in Chicago. Huh. Yep. That's what we need. We need more road course racing. Yes, we do.
Right, because you know, I know how much you love F1 with all the passing.
Right, and so let's do the same.
Let's reenact that. Right. And the only thing that I found cool, and I had it on for a little bit, David, was the in-car view looking behind to the cars behind, and you could see the Chicago skyline in the background.
Yep.
Thought it was a very pretty picture from a television standpoint, but the race was boring as hell.
I mean, no offense, Mark. The only road course racing I like during the summer is the Tour de France. Otherwise, get me an oval. I think I'm alone on that island. I don't know how. I really don't. Every morning I get up and I walk around and I go, where is everybody? How can I be alone on this? God.
Yeah, Drive to Survive did a ton for F1. Now the movie's out.
Movie's doing great.
I don't get it. I'm with you, but I'm not an auto racing guy. But I've tried to watch Indy. I've tried to watch F1. For a while, I watched a little NASCAR. That doesn't even do it for me anymore. So, David, it's a tough watch watching them not pass. Starting fives next.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know what, Johnny? I have to be honest with you. It went a lot more slowly than you would think. It was great. Thank you for asking. And Puck Virtue, I have no word on whether the F1 movie is any good. I do know a friend of mine who's actually was a sponsor of the show said, I saw a post that he put up, said that and he's a huge car guy, like raced cars. He said it wasn't for him. It's actually for people who are not car people, if that makes sense. No, actually, Michael, you couldn't. We need him to be in areas. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. But we need them to be somewhere that they can hear the show. And we don't, Michael, we appreciate you listening. That's more than enough, my friend.
Michael, we appreciate your support.
Did Homa have to win to get into the British, or is he in already? Because he's had a terrible year, so I don't know if he's qualified.
I don't know either.
I'll check.
I didn't have the sound up, so I don't know if they got into that.
If they did, I didn't hear it. Yeah, he's in the field. Okay. He's still top 25 in the world.
Which is amazing because he came into the John Deere 122 and the FedEx.
Right. Oh, crap. I didn't even put out a show tweet today. I'll be damned. Let's do that right now.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour on this first Monday of July. Miller and Moulton back together again. Mark back from the family vacay, which went great. So, of course, we come back to some technical difficulties. I mean, you know, we just wanted to let Mark know, hey, you're back. We'll explain it again for those listening in the 239.
No, we're back. Everything's good.
Oh, they got it
All
fixed?
We're good.
Oh, okay, because I was getting text during that break as well. So good. All right. Cool.
Don't know how you're getting text during that break. Commercials were running. So we're good.
Okay.
Everything's good. Back to normal.
All right. Good deal. Okay. Well, then we're ready for...
No, that's the wrong one. Let's try this one.
The starting five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting five.
We'll start with baseball. After all, it's that time of the year, a week before the All-Star break, and man, a lot is going on. First, they filled out the All-Star teams yesterday. Remember, every team's got to have a guy.
That includes the Colorado Rockies.
Correct. And the White Sox. And the Pirates, although...
And the Athletics.
And Skeens obviously deserves to be there. But the Rays got 2. First baseman, Jonathan Aranda. Second baseman, Brandon Lau. Marlins got outfielder Kyle Stowers. American League, 4 Tigers, 4 Mariners on the team, along with 3 Yankees, 3 Red Sox, 3 Astros. National League, 5 Dodgers, including Clayton Kershaw. They have this thing called the Legends pick. So Kershaw put on the team as basically an ode to your career, because obviously he doesn't deserve to be on the team. But then again, they're saying with your career, you deserve to be on it. Cubs, Mets, Padres, also with 3 All-Stars. Juan Soto, probably the most high-profile guy, 21 homers, a 900-plus OPS, not on the team. People are bent out of shape. You do know the guy's making over $50 million this year, right? He gets a few days off. This isn't the worst thing in the world. It'll be okay, really. I'll bet you secretly he's thrilled, but he won't say it out loud. The managers for the game are the 2 managers who met in the World Series, Aaron Boone, Dave Roberts. The game is a week from tomorrow in Atlanta. The Nats couldn't even wait to the All-Star break. Man, we couldn't wait 1 more week, 6 more games. They fired their general manager, Mike Rizzo, who had been there 13 years, and their manager, Dave Martinez, who had been there 7. They both helped lead the Nats to the 2019 World Series title. Here's the most shocking thing about the timing of it. Mark, how often do you fire the general manager when the draft in your sport is 6 days away and you own the first pick in the draft and there's not a consensus first overall pick?
You know, Pat Kerwin on the show has talked about it many times in football that, you know, they blow out scouting staffs right after
There you go.
the draft.
Right. Because, you know, you've done all the work. So, you know, this is pretty much, you know, we'll take who we take. And then, you know, I'm bringing in my guys. All right. Okay. So we'll see how that works out for the Nats, who were supposed to be sold years ago. And the guy hasn't spent any money because he's still trying to sell. And so this just in, they haven't been any good. Last time they were good, guess what they were doing?
They were spending money, David.
How about that?
Didn't they have this Scherzer guy there that was pitching? He seemed to be pretty good.
Yeah. Now I will say, okay, they did give Strasburg $35 million a year, and I think he pitched for him 12 times since.
Right.
So, the one time they spent money, it came back to them. On the field, Rays avoid the sweep in Minnesota. They score 3 in the 10th and beat the Twins 7-5. Rays are 3 behind the Jays. Mark, the Jays haven't lost since you went on vacation. Pretty much. 8 straight wins. They swept the Angels 3-2. Their lead is 3 over the Rays and the Yankees, who snapped their 6-game skid with a 6-4 win over the Mets yesterday, Judge hitting his 33rd homer. By the way, this is life in New York. They were calling the July 6th game for the Yankees, quote, an absolute must-win. Was it their 90th game, 91st game? I mean, there's only, 70 or so games left? Yes. Quote, an absolute must-win. Or else they were recommending that what the Nats did yesterday needed to be done in the Bronx. Red Sox, they've been very inconsistent, but they're on the upswing. They swept the Nats 6-4. That Crochet guy, good thing they traded for him. He's good. He picked up his 9th win. The Orioles swept the Braves. 2-1 the final. Jackson Holliday with the 2-run homer in the win. Zach Wheeler, first complete game in 4 years. He threw a 1-hitter. Only hit was a homer. Phillies beat the Reds 3-1. Brewers beat the Marlins 3-1. Brandon Woodruff, his first appearance in over 650 days, coming back from arm surgery. Good for him. 6 good innings. Marlins lost the series. They had won 4 series in a row. Mark, the Marlins are in 3rd place in the National League East, and we're a week into July, which goes to show you how much better they are than we thought they'd be, but it really goes to show you how bad of a season the Rays are having. And I wonder if that helped get the guys fired in our nation's capital, that they're behind the Marlins. Cubs took 2 of 3 from the Cardinals, 11-0 the final last night. Cubs lead over the Brewers is 4. It's 6 over the Redbirds. Astros swept the Dodgers in L.A. 5-1 the final yesterday. There was a lighthearted moment Saturday. So Saturday night, the Dodgers pitchers threw batting practice. It was like 18-1 or something like that. And Oral Hershiser, late in the game, Dodger pitchers giving up like a 2 RBI double. And as the ball is rolling to the wall, Hershiser says, I don't want to bring up a sore subject, but they're pounding our pitching almost like they know what's coming.
Well played.
That's funny. I'm
Well
sorry. 7 years later, that's funny. Seattle remains 7 behind the Astros. A 3rd straight shutout of the Pirates. 1-0 Seattle with the win. Padres 4-1 over the Rangers. They took 2 of 3. San Diego is 7 back of the Dodgers, as are the Giants, who took 2 of 3 from the A's. 6-2 the final. Willie Adames with a homer and 3 RBIs. Bobby Witt Jr. homered. Royals have won 3 of 4. They shut out Arizona 4-0. The Tigers swept the Guardians. Hell, who can't sweep the Guardians? They've lost 10 in a row. Tigers 7-2-10 over Cleveland. This Scooble guy gave up 3 hits in 7 innings, no runs, struck out 10.
Cleveland is 2 away from their longest franchise losing streak ever. They lost 12 in a row in 1931.
Aren't those the 2 oldest franchises in the American League, Detroit and Cleveland? I know the Tigers are the oldest.
I know the Tigers are the oldest. I got nothing for you with the Cleveland.
All right. Colorado salvaged the game against the White Sox 6-4. Bobby Jenks died over the weekend at the age of 44. He had developed cancer over a year ago. Jenks was the closer on that White Sox team 20 years ago that won the World Series. He was a really good reliever there for about 3-4 years in a row. Bobby Jenks, 44. In golf, Brian Campbell won the John Deere Classic in a playoff. It's his second win of the year. How many of you even know who he is? The other guys who have won 2 tournaments this year, named Rory, Scotty, JT, and Seb Straka, who's big in Poland. Wimbledon, 2 seed Alcaraz, 5th seed Fritz. They both advanced to the quarters. Today, the top seed Sinner and Djokovic are in action. On the women's side, top seed Sabalenka got through to the quarters, as did American Anisimova. She's the 10 seed. Big opportunity for her because there are not many seeds left. NASCAR, the street race in Chicago. Of course, Shane Van Gisbergen won. He's a road course specialist. Second time he's won the Chicago race in 3 years. Ross Chastain actually had a great race. He started like 26th and finished 10th.
But he actually finished better than 10th, if you will, because all the road course drivers don't get full points.
Right.
So he earned, I think, the 6th most points in the race, if I'm not mistaken. But
IndyCar, also racing on a road course in mid-Ohio. Scott Dixon edged out Alex Palou. First win of the year for Dixon. He's had a remarkable career. Soccer was the Gold Cup in Houston. U.S. scored 4 minutes in. I think it's the last time we possessed the ball. Anyway, Mexico controlled the match. They tied it in the first half. Edison Alvarez with a beautiful header in the 77th minute. A goal that was originally called offsides. Okay, they got it right. It was onside. It was a good goal. Mexico deserved the win, 2-1. Their 10th Gold Cup title and 2nd in a row. WNBA, by the way, New York is sliding. Seattle beat them in New York, 79-70. Vegas by 18 over Connecticut. The Sun are terrible. You know who's not terrible? The Minnesota Lynx. They're 17-2. They beat Chicago by 5. Got to give it up to Angel Reese, though. She's playing great. She followed up that big double-double with 16 points and 17 rebounds. She's had like 5 terrific games in a row. So, hey, we were on her when she was lousy. Want to give her some love now that she's turned the corner. And finally, NBA. So yesterday was the day, Mark, that all those moves that we've reported on for a week to 10 days can officially go through. The Durant deal ended up being a 7-team trade. It's still Durant to Houston and the key players going back to Phoenix, but they worked in 5 other teams, 3 other players, like 6 second-round picks, a pick swap. I don't get it.
I don't either. Thank you, because for the life of me, why would all of these other teams help Houston? I mean, because that's essentially what was getting done here. They weren't helping Phoenix. They were helping Houston. So why do 5 teams want to help make another team better? I don't get it.
So a week ago, Orlando cut Mo Wagner there. Well, that's because if they picked up his option, it'd be $11 million. He tore his ACL in December. So they re-signed him yesterday, but he only making $5 million to rehab his knee this year and still be on the Magic. So there you go. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was starting 5. 5 big stories, and Mo Wagner back with the Magic here on Miller and Moulton. Your football Magic numbers, once again, are 52 days to the start of the college season and 59 days, 8 weeks from Thursday night, the Eagles will host the Cowboys. 52 and 59. 25 to the Hall of Fame game for those of you who just need to see helmets and shoulder pads and haven't found the CFL on CBS Sports Network.
And for those of you that are wondering, CBS Sports Network is either on your cable or YouTube TV lineup. I doubt you've ever been there before. It actually exists. Unless you're a big Mountain West football fan, then you found it. Now, the Pac-10.
Your new home to the Pac-12, CBS and CBS Sports Network. Rich
Correct.
Wall, take it away.
Correct.
We make fun. Miller and Moulton would kill 7 people to do those games.
Maybe 8. Maybe 8. We will talk some baseball later in the show. Ryan Spader to join us and crow a little bit about a preseason prediction he made that he took a lot of grief for. That's looking pretty good right now. And Glenn Davis to talk about the ramifications of last night's Gold Cup loss to Mexico. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Thanks so much for listening. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no.
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and 1 replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Probably for a wild card, Irish, and good to see that you haven't changed while I've left. Great to have you back. Good to see you. I'm sure you did, Irish. You had no one to antagonize and upset. It's one of the things you like to do so much. I'm surprised David didn't have you co-host the show a couple of days. That's the bigger shock to me. I mean, Irish, let me ask you a question. Have you ever picked anyone that's not one of your teams to do anything? Because you talk about, I think, 3 teams on here. The Houston Astros, Notre Dame, and the Denver Broncos. Is there anybody else you make predictions on that you don't follow closely and root for? But you figured it out. I mean, you figured out how to get under my skin, dude. Hopefully this week off, I'll be better. But I can safely say that your first comment shows me that you haven't. But it's okay.
So apparently there were 8 original American League teams.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Tigers. The Cleveland franchise was originally the Bluebirds, but the franchise has never left Cleveland. So do you count it? The White Sox were one of the original 8. The Red Sox were one of the original 8. Now, the A's were one of the original 8, but they were in Philadelphia. Do they count? So,
and it's too bad, Irish, because I turn the chat off a lot just so I don't have to see what you said. And it's not fair to all the other people who are in there who does such a nice job of adding to this show.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this first Monday of July. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us, Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We've already had 4 managers fired in baseball this year. I haven't even gotten to the All-Star break. What do they think they are, the NHL?
You know, and that's a good joke, David.
Thank you.
I will say, and you got the Rockies, the Nats. Who else has fired their managers this year? So we have the Rockies, the Nats.
Oh, boy. Orioles.
Baltimore.
I'll think of it. I will.
But you have been wanting a manager fired.
Pirates.
You've been wanting a manager fired for 2 years now.
Yeah.
And they've stuck with their guy.
And I said, after those 3 managers were fired in like 15 days in May, I said, let me tell you who's next. All right. The guy in Toronto.
Right.
He's next.
Right.
How's that working out, Moulton?
And, Ryan Spader on to talk about where he was right before the season.
We have me on to talk about who was wrong.
Well,
That's
we have both of us on to talk about who was wrong. Because I'm still waiting for Texas to make a run in the AL West. So,
man, and their pitching is incredible. My goodness, is they're hitting.
By
bad.
the way, so's Cleveland's.
Yeah.
So the Tigers are the best hitting team, one of the best hitting teams in baseball. And they shut Detroit down. Yesterday was nuts in the 10th inning. But, I mean, they held Detroit to 4 runs through 27 innings.
Right.
And lost all 3.
Right.
Their pitching is fantastic. They have nobody on that team that can hit the baseball.
No, they got Ramirez. That's it, man. You get him out, and they can't score. Yep. But you heard it here. That guy in Toronto, he gone. He gone. And by gone, I mean he in first place in the first full week of July. Yeah. Haven't lost since June. You're back though, so we got to bet on the Blue Jays to lose. I mean, they didn't lose basically once you left. They've won
And
8 in a row.
Cleveland didn't win while I was gone.
No, they didn't.
They did not win a game. I went on vacation. I left for 11 days.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. And they've lost every day since. Yes.
Unbelievable.
Very quickly. Now, obviously, we're not putting an X next to the 3 teams separated by 3 games in the American League East. We've given the Tigers the Central.
That's done.
Okay. I have given the Astros the West. Are you willing to do that?
I think so, because Texas can't hit, and that would be a monstrous comeback. I think Texas is still alive for a wild card, because damn near everybody that's within a top couple games of 500 is still in the wild card race in the American League. I mean, there's too many bad teams in the AL.
Well, the Red Sox with this surge here became the 7th team to be above 500, Mark. For most of the time you were gone, the 6 playoff teams in the American League were really easy to tell. There were only 6 teams above 500. So you're right, a good week in the American League, and you're damn near a playoff team.
But, the Twins, the Royals, the Guardians, now they're 8 below 500. I think you can stick a fork in the Guardians. I actually think that's a team now you can look at here in the month of July to maybe try to get one of their arms to give them some prospects that can hit.
Oh, because I definitely think you're onto something, because not only that, not to get nitty gritty here on the Guardians, but the Guardians got off to the great start last year. The Guardians were like 52-30, and then actually played a game below 500 in the second half of last year. So now if you look at the last 170 games that this Guardians crew has been together, they are like a 74 win team. So, yeah, I expect the front office in Cleveland in the next 3 weeks to be sellers, and boy, do they have pitching to sell.
And everybody in baseball that's in a race is looking for an arm, whether it's a starter, whether it's a bullpen arm. There's not a team out there that couldn't get better by adding an arm, and the Guardians bullpen is fantastic.
So, but I've given the Astros the West. Are you backing me?
I'm backing you. They're
7 up.
Well, they're not only 7 up, they're only a game and a half behind the Tigers for the best record in the American League, how well they've been playing.
And it's amazing because their best pitcher is still on the IL. Their big bat in the lineup, the first baseman, hasn't played in 2 months and is going to miss another month. I mean, they've overcome noteworthy injuries and have played great.
Really?
Their young guys are coming through. They moved Altuve back to second. Thank goodness. That left field thing was embarrassing. Not only that, he was so small. He was like a little leaguer out there. We're looking for the ball. But have we given the Dodgers, despite all the injuries, the West? They're up by 7.
I don't see anyone catching them. The way, and even they're up by 7 after just getting swept.
Correct. I'm giving them the West.
I'm with you.
Now, obviously, we're not going to give the Phillies the National League East, just like we weren't giving the Mets the National League East when they were up by 4 or 5 games. But the big question is, are we giving the Cubs the Central?
Not yet. Brewers are only 4 back. Brewers have been there before. September's not going to scare them or frighten them. So too many games, I think, left between the Brewers and Cubs to give the Cubs the Central.
I think the Cubs, by the way, unlike Milwaukee, this is why I'm like the guy with the Open Championship jug. I am beginning to press the Chicago Cubs in as Central Division champs, Mark. I've got that light Van de Velde 1999 imprint going with the 3-shot lead on 18. Okay, because the Cubs will be buyers at the deadline and the Brewers will not. So the Cubs, who are already better than the Brewers, are in theory going to get better. That's just me.
But we did, I think with what's happened to the Twins, Royals, and Guardians, we now have a few sellers in the American League that I don't believe they thought when the season began they'd be sellers in July. Hell, I don't think they thought that a month and a half ago. And all three teams have had just since the start of summer have been horrible, or since the beginning of June, even before that, actually. So I think there's a few more. I don't know if the Braves will necessarily be sellers because they're so banged up. Who are you selling, and what are you trying to get?
Well, that's just it. Like, most of their lineup, Mark, is signed to long-term contracts. Okay, except the left fielder. Azuna's 34 and in the final year of a deal. I expect him to be dealt because that's a quality bat. They can get something for Ozuna. To me, what would be interesting is, do they sell Murphy the catcher? Because they've got a young guy who's already up who they think might be better. And right now they're not playing him every day because of Murphy. And you can get a lot, Mark, for a catcher. Like, don't be surprised. The Rays would actually give up real assets if they can get their hands on a controllable catcher. The Rays have been looking for a catcher since they passed on Buster Posey in the draft. They had the number 1 pick in the draft that year. We had Buster Posey on the show 2 weeks before the draft, playing at Florida State. And we said, so what do you think of Tampa St. Pete? And he kind of chuckled and said, be nice, blah, be an honor, blah, blah, blah.
Best thing that never happened to him.
I understand that, but not the best thing. The Rays haven't made too many mistakes. Tim Anderson, I think, or whoever the high school shortstop was, all right, instead of Buster Posey, that was a mistake.
So we'll see here as the next couple of weeks shake down what happens in baseball as far as the trade deadline. All-Star game next week. All-Stars were just named. A couple of snubs, but I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just on the All-Star game. Bregman got picked as a reserve. He played in 51 games. Should he be a reserve?
Now, I
mean, he's not going to play because
he's been really good.
I gotcha.
But no.
But he played in 51 of what?
90.
Of whatever. 90 games, basically.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how you can do that.
I'm with you.
It's nothing against him. He's played terrifically. But what's the best ability?
Availability. Yep. I mean, that's very NBA All-Star game selection process, isn't it? And by the way, blame Aaron Boone. Now, he gets heavily consulted. I mean, Boone calls up every manager and says, give me your most worthy All-Stars and list them to me in order, because I have to have X number of infielders, outfielders, pitchers. And so, who are you nominating? And then he sits down and puts it all together and throws in his 2 cents. Here's my thing, Mark. If you're Major League Baseball, do you change the rule that every team gets an All-Star?
No. Nope. David, come on. You and I know there are more teams now than when we were kids. But David, when you and I were kids, the teams we rooted for sucked.
They were not good.
Period.
Yep.
They were bad.
Yep.
Tigers were bad, and the Mets were bad.
Yep.
And what did you, when baseball was the biggest sport on the planet, you looked forward to the All-Star game. It's still the best All-Star game of all of them, and it's not close. And what did you look forward to was your player playing with the best players in the game, and which of your guys was going to get chosen. And it was to me as a kid and as a fan of the Tigers, it was a big deal.
Listen, I can remember for the longest time in the late 70s into the early 80s, the Mets would only get one All-Star, and it was either Lee Mazzilli or John Stearns. And oftentimes when it was Stearns, Mark, he came in and caught the ninth inning. And when it was Mazzilli, he'd pinch hit or pinch run in the eighth or ninth inning. And I watched the whole game because of it.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Have any of you in the Twitch chat or YouTube chat, and hello all of you, have any of you, it's particularly in Southwest Florida, have ever done acupuncture? And if so, has it worked? And if so, who did you use? Because I'm 7 weeks into this back thing and it's starting to get really annoying.
Who was it who asked about trading Chris Sale? I think if you trade Chris Sale, because Sale wants to return to the Braves, his contract's up at the end of the year. You sit down with him, though, and you say, listen, we want you back. But obviously this year hasn't worked out for us. If we trade you, give us some place that you want to go chase a ring. But please know we want you back. And you might even start discussing contract with him and his agent also.
Thank you, Virtue. I knew there was somebody in the Cape that was apparently really good. I know there's someone in Estero, but I've never known anybody who's used them or him.
You going acupuncture?
I'm going back to PT tomorrow. I am basically telling them to give me a damn MRI. I don't really want to do anything other than what I'm doing until I get an MRI because I don't want to screw it up even worse.
Sonny, you know who should trade for sale? The Cubs. And the Cubs can say to him, get healthy, take your time.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. So Jake and I were having this discussion on vacation. What's the best sports city in America? And do you have to have 4 teams to be the best sports city? Like, is there a tier of it? You know what I mean? Like, as Pittsburgh doesn't have, obviously, an NBA team.
Well, okay. Well,
But I consider Pittsburgh a great sports city. Like, I think, I have my qualms with their fans, but it's hard for me not to pick Boston. Boston's a great sports city. It truly is.
Yes, it is.
Like, I'm biased. I think Detroit's a really good sports town. And I know the 2 people who love Denver more than anything, I've never heard anybody say that, but the way the Rockies draw, you have to consider them a good sports town.
Agreed, Sonny. Oh.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Mark may be back, but we don't have a poll question. We haven't really discussed one either.
Not even close. It's not like we've not. We haven't even brought up the subject.
No, I just did, though, producing on the air. Mark missed
My favorite. I've missed it for a week, David.
Mark missed it. Okay. He looked at his wife at some point on vacation and said, honey, I have to admit, I appreciate you not producing for me this week. But and she went, what? And he's like, never mind. I'll explain it on the 16-hour car ride home.
I thought maybe the fact that you didn't post one all week, you might have a couple left over that you thought of that you couldn't figure out how to do on X.
It's very stressful when you're not here. It is. There's a lot of little things you do. And so Rick and I, we were constantly worried. I mean, I felt like the guy who the slow moving with the music in the background scene and the drama where you're walking through that dark alley or tunnel and what have you. That's kind of what I felt the whole week was. Wait, did I hear somebody? Okay. Was that water? Okay.
I was so hopeful on Monday morning that my phone wouldn't ring.
That was so foolish of you. I mean,
no. I was hopeful. I said I was hopeful. When it rang, I answered it on the first ring and was immediately up, and we got almost everything taken care of.
Right. Yep. Needed help with one more thing. But listen, I'm surprised you're not somewhat impressed that we didn't reach out to you the whole rest of the week. I mean, come on now. If I had put that over/under out there when you went on vacation, hey, will we have to contact you Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday next week? Yes or no?
Oh, David, I thought you would. but I was pretty sure I had made my mind up after Monday. I wasn't answering anymore. I mean, that's where I was. So there's that. But David, I did not really do my duties for the segment that I do at this time every day, which is the coolest thing I've seen today. And I have kind of a nomination because anytime a manager kicks dirt on the plate,
Little old school.
right. And Carlos Mendoza, the Mets manager, threw a nutty.
He did.
He threw it, and he was justified.
Yeah, the home plate umpire wanted to go. He either had a late reservation or he had a flight. These games are taking too long. I got to get out of here. Yeah, bottom of the ninth inning, Mets trying to get the tying run on the plate. And basically, if that thing was within a foot of the strike zone, it was a strike.
Yeah, he was ready to go. He was ready to go.
He was.
And Mendoza went nuts and kicked dirt all over home plate. But I'm going to give you a little backdrop into the week that was in my vacation. This could either be a sign of a tremendous problem or I and my son are ready for the Beer Olympics. Because I'm going to give you the count of the number of beers consumed in the 7 days that we were in our rental home. Saturday through Friday. Because the car was jam-packed with our stuff. I had no more room for anything else. And I'd given my son a list of things to bring. And I said, grab 3 cases of Miller Lite. And my wife said to me, well, that seems like a lot. And I started laughing. I said, for what? The first couple of days or for the week? And between these are just the beers at the place that we stayed at, and also the 18-pack that my sister-in-law very cutely bought for us to hang out with them because they have a place on the lake we were at also, and we went there for a couple of days to hang out with the kids and the cousins and all that stuff.
Well, that's 90 beers.
Well, that doesn't include the 3 30-packs that we had to buy in addition to those 90 beers.
Well, that's another 90 beers.
Not to mention, after we did all of the Miller Lights at her house, we took down another 10 of whatever else they had. This does not include any beers at the restaurant and beers on the golf course that were consumed.
Well, that's well over 200 beers.
That's well over 200 beers. And to be honest, on the last Friday, both Jake and I had nothing left. We just finished them because we had to at that point. And we didn't even go hard on Friday because we were both dog dead tired.
Wow.
And early. So, by no means is this Wade Boggs on the trip out west on the plane where he apparently had like 80 beers in a day. But
you were Wade Boggs, in which you were having chicken as your meal every damn time you ate. I mean, my goodness. Wow.
So, yeah. That's the coolest thing I did last week, and it's brought to you by Air Advantage. MyAirAdvantage.com. MyAirAdvantage.com. You know, the whole 18 months. No interest, no payments available. 433-4635. If your AC is down and the only way to keep cool is to slug one Miller Lite after another, you best call Air Advantage right away.
Air Advantage. 18 months, no interest, no payment, and an 18-pack included. Tell them Miller and Moulton sent you.
I'm ready for the Beer Olympics. Either that or I'm not drinking again for a month. I haven't decided which.
So, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we have to tell a story which takes you behind the curtain and lets you in a little bit as to our friendship. And you then get to decide just how much affection is there and just how much angst and resentment is there. So, Mark and I did not talk to one another the entire time he was on vacation. He's on vacation. I felt bad that Monday we bothered him, June 30th, albeit briefly. I didn't even text him when people died. Mark sent me a text from vacation of an obit. And I was like, yeah, I saw, I didn't want to bother you. So I didn't bother him at all. Nothing. Whole week. Family vacay. He gets enough of me. Gets more of me than he gets his family, for goodness sakes. July 4th. Late afternoon. Haven't heard from the man all week. Nothing. Not a hey, happy 4th of July, fireworks emojis, and when you press on the text, your phone. Nope, none of that. No. You know what I get? I get a video of me in a 2-minute hot dog eating contest back in the day. After, Joey down 70.5. By the way, the over under, I'm not making this up, was 71. Was the over under on the number of hot dogs. And officially they went with 70.5. But I digress. But yes, the only communication outside of Mark, we need you to get us on the air. I promise we won't bother you again. And we didn't. The only communication was directed from Miller towards Moulton. Someone died and he needed to let me know. Okay.
That's just a quirk of Miller.
I was going to say they're not fully on vacation yet. And it wasn't. It was like his first day or so on vacation. So he wasn't fully on vacay. But sure enough, July 4th, I get the video of me wolfing down like 14 hot dogs in 2 minutes.
Impressive to this day. Not
Thank
Joey Chestnut, but impressive. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Clark, the guy said, "Listen, you're not winning this thing." He goes, if you tried, you might be able to qualify. And Mark and John were like, "You got to try." I'm like, "I can't." Do you know what this would do to me? The headlines. Okay. I mean, my daughter going to school, she had just started like high school then. Okay.
It was the daughter and the wife. He's like, I can't do this because I can't face my wife if I qualify. And the kicker was the guy said, you can't do the Florida one because you won't make it because so-and-so's showing up and he's 5th in the world or whatever.
Yeah. Like you'll have to go. But if you go to this one, okay, I think you can qualify. I'm like, I can't qualify for Coney Island. Do you know how embarrassing that would be?
What's funny is, do you know who likes to watch it just as much as me? My wife.
Really?
Oh no, we didn't leave on July 4th until it was over. And it's disgusting. Like we were going to her brother and sister-in-law's place, and it was like we're watching that and then we're leaving. I put it on at noon. She was ready to go. I knew I'd get nothing from Cassio when I put the Paul Page.
Oh, it hurts him so much. So our former producer is a big IndyCar racing fan. Still is. Loves the Indy 500. Loves the qualifying, the lead up. He really does. And Paul Page, for the longest time, was the voice of the Indy 500. And Paul Page, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 years ago, Paul Page started doing the hot dog eating contest. And Mark, after John had sent out a text along the lines of, wow, this is a big event because Paul Page is doing it. All right. And Mark sends out a text, something back like, yep, biggest sporting event he's ever broadcast.
Well, and we had him on the show, and I started asking him hot dog eating contest, and John wants to strangle me. By the way, I don't know if you saw that text I sent you. The Boone does not pick.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
I knew it, and I didn't have the exact thing, but I was like, it's managers and players vote.
Right. Cool. I guess it's the commissioner's office. Yeah, and then the players. Yeah.
How quickly after they compete do they go barf?
Well, I know you're not allowed to there on stage.
Right.
And you're not allowed to even like,
yes,
you can't even regurgitate,
right.
a quarter of a dog. You'd be disqualified. The thing that put my 12 or 14 hot dogs, I don't know what it was, in 2 minutes, I had just had lunch.
And I think, and I thought it was a little short of that, but I remember you did your first 2 without dipping.
Yep.
And then you couldn't eat fast because there's not enough moisture, and you're like, and then I remember you saying after your first 2 dipping, you had to get used to just what that texture you were.
Yeah. It was. But then, I got going. It's like a bag of Lay's potato chips. I mean, once you get through like the first 10, so I had 2 double cheeseburgers and fries for lunch. And then
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till Ryan Spader joins us. Talk a little baseball on Miller and Moulton. I want to start out with a correction. Man, I miss this. And it's not like this happened a month ago. This happened like 8 years ago.
Right.
So apparently the managers don't call up all their other managers and say, hey, give me your list and go through it. And and what have you. So apparently now, hell, the manager's got nothing to do with it.
Not at all. And
So
I
I guess-
didn't have the exact rules as you were going, and I didn't want to let you keep going, but I wanted to make sure I had the proper rules. And it's a vote with the managers and the players that comes from the commissioner's office.
Yeah. So there you go. So if Juan Soto wants to blame anybody, he can blame his fellow players or blame the commissioner's office, or people just don't like you. Go cash the checks. You'll feel better.
Something else happened in the last couple of days. And I don't know. If I cut you off and you had something here, I apologize. We've got a few more segments. But we talked about this during the college softball World Series. The big name pitcher that was at Stanford and Texas Tech spent $1 million to get her.
Yes.
And they kept her.
For another $1 million.
Right.
Yeah.
Texas Tech looks as if they have jumped off the 10-meter board doing a cannonball into the deep end of college athletics.
They get more people wet sitting poolside than anyone else right now who's cannonballing into the deep end.
Because they just got done signing Felix, is it Ojo?
Listen, when you're drawing the salary he's drawing, you can pronounce it however you'd like.
But the 5-star offensive tackle, for those like Miller and Moulton that say you build a team in the trenches, Texas Tech went out and got the best offensive tackle that money could buy. And I mean that literally. Because a 5-star offensive tackle committed to Texas Tech instead of Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, and Florida, who, oh, by the way, Florida is doing a hell of a job recruiting.
Yeah,
The Gators have it going on, everybody.
Yeah, actually, the big three's got it going on in the state of Florida. They all do, which is encouraging. Hey,
I'll reserve that Florida State comments for down the road, but they're doing better. You're right. Miami's doing great. Florida's doing great.
they are
Florida State's doing well above average.
really well.
Yes, they are. A lot of pressure on that football team this year, or that sucker could blow right up.
You mean 2-10 isn't acceptable? Is that what you're saying?
As Bud Elliott and whoever his guy was for summer school said, no, it's a fireable offense for anybody, and they just didn't do it because the buyout was so damn big. But this Felix Ojo signed with Texas Tech in a fully guaranteed deal of $5.1 million over 3 years. Anybody else in the Big 12 right now, David, in their league was spending money. And UCF, I'm talking to you, because the one thing I did put out a post, and I know David saw it. We had our first rainy day on my vacation on Tuesday. We got there Saturday. Every morning I got up and there was a loop, I don't know, 1.25 miles around the houses of the neighborhood we were staying in. And I would get up every morning. I would download 3 or 4 episodes of Bud Elliott Summer School, and I would listen to them. And whoever suggested this to me, and I think a couple of you did, to listen to podcasts at 1.5 times speed. What a brilliant move, whoever gave me that idea. And I would listen to these summer schools and listen to a bunch of them. But in the Big 12, and I listened to UCF, and, like, what's a good season for UCF? And the person who covers them said, going to a bowl game. And they've got a very difficult away schedule this year. Their home schedule, very manageable. But there are not a lot of road games that, they're going to be an underdog in most every road game they play. There's no one coming to UCF at $5 million over 3 years. I don't think they have the boosters that could generate the type of cash that a Texas Tech can, because they're all in. And you and I have talked about this for a while. What ACC team, what Big 12 team is going to step up and play with the big boys? Clemson looks to be head and shoulders above everybody else in the ACC heading into this season. They do. Miami's going to be nice, but they're not Clemson. The Big 12's wide open, and this kid's not going to help them win a championship this year. But it does give you a sign of how all in they are. And in that conference, if you're going to get the automatic bid for winning it, well, you start spending the most money, you're giving yourself one heck of an advantage. And to get a guy away from Ohio State, Michigan, Florida, and Texas to go to Texas Tech, there's only one way to do it in 2025. Outspend them.
I'm just going to enjoy all the stats of how many NFL offensive tackles are making less than the kid at Texas Tech. Okay, that, they plug some rookie in who's making like $800,000 in the NFL, and they go, yeah, the kid at Texas Tech's making twice this. Or the veteran who signs the veteran minimum deal and he's making 1.5, and they go, well, he's almost ready to play right tackle at Texas Tech. Hey, so far the college football fans laughing at all this, Mark. It hasn't alienated them to the point where they're dismayed and they're not going to watch. They know, they're telling us, they know it's not college football anymore. They know, but they're not. Do you know one person, and I'm being serious here for 1 second. Do you know one person who has said, yeah, it's not the same. I'm out.
The second part. The first part, I've heard a bunch of them say.
Right.
It's not the same. I mean, that universally everybody has said, and apparently they're comfortable with.
But that's the thing, because no offense, if you don't say the second part, okay, I mean, that's like a bad approval rating in politics. Well, but if you're not voting the sucker out, shut up. I mean, seriously. Oh, this really makes me mad. You going to vote for him? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Here you go.
And by the way, we've talked about this plenty of times on this show. The other school that is flat out killing it in recruiting is that independent school who doesn't share any of their revenue with anyone else. And their revenue is massive. It's this little school in South Bend, Indiana called Notre Dame, where apparently the son of every Hall of Fame player in the world wants to go play for them.
And for good measure, the grandson of a national championship Michigan coach as well. You got that right. Yep.
And they're going to be really good. If he can play, if Carr can play, David, they're going to be really good again this year.
If Carr can play, they're going to be really good for 3 years. I mean, damn, the kid hasn't used up any eligibility left yet.
And remember, they lost, 2 or 3 linemen last year throughout the course, before the season, during the season,
right?
One in the postseason, and they're all back.
Yep.
Their O-line strong.
They opened with Miami. Okay. Honestly, and they're favored. Games in Miami, and they're favored by like 3.5 or 4.5. I don't think Notre Dame's an underdog in a game this year.
And if Notre Dame gets through the their first half of their schedule is the difficult part. If they get through the first half of their schedule, basically after the USC game, there's nothing there. I think Purdue's their only, not easy. Purdue's an easier game, but Purdue's their only quote unquote easy game of their first 5 or 6. And then there's nothing on the back end. Maybe Pitt, but This isn't Notre Dame's. I mean, Notre Dame, we have always basically told you that Notre Dame plays a tough schedule. You don't like to hear that. Sometimes it doesn't work out. The teams that they schedule aren't as good. But there's a really good chance that they could run the whole damn thing.
Open at Miami. 2 weeks later, they host A&M. Then Purdue at Arkansas. Home for Boise.
Right. Good game. That's a
Yeah,
good
right.
game.
Then NC State and USC both at home. They've got 2 weeks to prepare to go to Chestnut Hill, which is Boston College, which will not be easy. I'm just telling you right now. PC is salty. Ask a Notre Dame fan about playing Boston College. They'll be worried.
They'll be a touchdown favorite minimum in that game.
I understand.
No, I know.
They'll play Navy. They're at Pitt. Remember, Pitt was 7-0 last year. Their quarterback got hurt. They went to SMU, lost, and didn't win another game. Everybody is back on Pitt. Pitt, to me, is the sleeper team in the ACC this year. And mid-November, they're at Pitt. Then they're home for Syracuse and at Stanford. But they will be, right now, you can write it down. They'll be favored in all 12 games they play.
So Notre Dame should be back in the playoff, unless things go horribly wrong. Notre Dame's back in the playoff. Book it. So Texas Tech spending big-time money. Notre Dame recruiting at an unbelievably elite level because they've got cash, everybody. They flat out have it, and they're using it.
Hey, do you need to step out and make a phone call to see whether or not? No, we got the money. We're good. No, I don't have to call anybody. It's true. It's not like Marcus Freeman ever has to say to a recruiter or his agent, we'll get back to you.
No, if they want them, the answer is yes.
No, we got the money. We're good.
But, I can't say it enough. I think it's a monster year for the Gators because their recruiting's going really well, and you don't want to see that dwindle off. The Canes are doing a hell of a job. Florida State's doing a really nice job. But the worry is if, the number they picked when I listened to the Florida State broadcast for Norvell to not be in real trouble is 8. They've got to get to 8. Right.
It'd be something if he's playing the Gators needing to win to save his job.
Exactly.
Which we all would have said. So 2 years ago, when these two teams played at the end of the year, who did we think would need a win to be saving his job?
So I'm, getting excited about college football. Dove into the podcast on the vacation, dove into the Phil Steele book on vacation.
Gotcha.
And my takeaways are Clemson's the ACC champ. Notre Dame's going back to the playoff. Not sure about the two big boy conferences just yet. It's Penn State's Big Ten to lose. Can they get it done?
Wow. That's got to be scary words for a Nittany Lions fan.
Yep.
Penn State's conference to lose.
Do you agree with that statement?
No, I don't. No.
Because of the coach or the talent?
Because they have to go to Columbus. So I think they're a co-favorite, but Mark, I know I should put them number 1 on my preseason ballot in the Big Ten. I don't know if I have the guts to do it. I know I should. You're right. I should vote them number 1 on my preseason Big Ten ballot.
And yes, Oregon's going to be good.
They will.
Michigan's got a lot riding on the quarterback. There's a few others that could be okay. Illinois is one of them. A very Indiana-like schedule from a year ago.
Boy, is it ever. Is it ever? They'll be favored a minimum of 10 games. Miller and Moulton. Ryan Spader, the ace of Spader, is next. With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, it's funny, Fly Panda, because Beck was going to go and he stayed for the $4 million. There are other players who did go. So I think it's almost an individual thing, but I don't think the NFL will adjust its rookie scale. I think, if you're a quarterback or any player for that matter, you want to get to that second contract, but I think it's a really valid point. I don't even know I don't pay much attention to what Paul Feinbaum says, Sonny. I really don't. I don't listen to his show. I follow him on Twitter, but I don't think he posts all that much.
Feeney, I will assure you of something right now. If the Gators get to 9, I will pound the table incessantly for them to make the playoffs.
Like, that's going to be the big question. I got to get him on the air. Sorry. I'll talk to you later.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home in the 239 and the 904. Final hour of the show in Lake City, Live Oak and surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Glenn Davis will look back at the U.S. men's national team's performance in the Gold Cup, losing in the final to Mexico with their B team. What do we take from it? Glenn Davis in 1 hour. Ryan Spader, kind enough to join us once again. Baseball analyst, best-selling baseball author, former Marine. We thank him for his service. You can follow Ryan on X at the Ace of Spader. Spaeder. Ryan, a belated happy 4th to you. It's David and Mark. How are you? How you been?
I'm excellent, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, I've got to ask you before we get to baseball, because we love your X handle. Are you a Motorhead fan?
I wouldn't say fan, but I like all music. It's actually just a nickname that a high school coach gave me. I think based on, of course, Motorhead's
yes, there you go.
Spade song.
Yep.
I just kind of rang through and stuck, and I thank him for it because it sounds pretty catchy, I think.
Love it. Absolutely love it. It drew me to you before I found out really about your work, which is outstanding. Listen, you said something on this show that floored the two hosts 3 months ago. You said, guys, I'll give you a little exclusive. I haven't released it yet, but I don't see how the Braves are going to win 85 games. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, what are you talking about? I got them going to the World Series. You're like, yeah, I don't see it. Besides the injuries, which none of us could have seen, what was it that you saw that makes you so right?
First of all, I don't want to dance on the Braves' grave, so to speak. of course, the baseball fan in me grew up a Phillies fan, so I think a lot of people like to think, you love to see the Braves struggle. Certainly not for the reasons, at least, that they have. The injuries have been plaguing this team now. It seems like endlessly for the last couple of years, and it's a shame. But I just saw a team that had too many players that were trending in the wrong direction in terms of their offensive production, players who you've got to depend on to be peak producers in key spots in that lineup, and then a lineup that with what I was going to say one key injury, but it turned out that it was one key suspension, would essentially fall apart and fall apart at the back end. And that's really what we saw with the team. And I think that the Braves are a good lesson today in that this modern baseball that we see with the universal DH and these lineups that really operate cyclically rather than linearly, that you cannot sustain a 162-game season or even the first couple months of the season without major league level players producing 1 through 9. And that's really where the Braves floundered from the get-go, from my opinion, is that 6, 7, 8, 9 spot.
All right. I look at the AL Central, and I'm a Tiger fan born and raised in Michigan, so I'm happy with my team. But when I look at what's going on with the Royals, that might be my biggest surprise this year. I expected a lot more out of them, and now it looks like the Royals, Twins, and Guardians could all be sellers at the deadline. What went wrong in Kansas City this year? So far, at least.
Well, you know what? It's funny because the American League Central, I think pretty much everybody, myself included, viewed it as probably one of the weaker divisions in baseball. And in a twist, you have the team with what I believe still stands as the best record in baseball coming out of there in your boyhood favorite Detroit Tigers. And then the Royals, I think their situation's a bit different, where their back end of their lineup isn't quite producing. They do have a different issue than the Braves do, where I think the Braves just kind of top to bottom just completely fall into a lull and then can't hand it off to the top. The Royals kind of do have good spots in that 9-hole on occasion, but 1 through 9, again, not producing. And then their starting rotation, I would have to sit down and go through each member of that rotation and where I think that they're coming up short. But the team as a whole, I think that they're performing at a level that most people expect the Central. So I think that really the biggest surprise coming from that Central isn't the Royals. It's just the fact that the Detroit Tigers have, I mean, arguably the best, or at least the best producing team in baseball from a division that nobody expected much from. And they're doing so, frankly, without any of your elite players or the highest level breakout players outside of maybe Riley Green. But I think that he's performing at a level that most people were expecting from him, probably coming into last season. So you look at that team that is devoid of your Aaron Judges or your even Bryce Harper or even like a breakout player like Cal Raleigh entirely. And it's just going to show that is one of the finest examples that you're going to find in this game, that, hey, at the end of the day, baseball is a team sport, and any one player isn't going to make or break a Major League Baseball team.
Well, you talk a lot about production 6 through 9. Torkelson's been very productive this year. Obviously, Baez having a resurgence. And you're right. The Tigers lineup's been balanced and their pitching continues to be outstanding. He's Ryan Spader, baseball analyst. Follow him on X at the Ace of Spader, Spaeder. So are we buying the Blue Jays to win the East, or are they just on a nice roll but still bet the Yankees?
That's one I will take a victory lap on that one, because I actually one of the few wagers that I made prior to the season was that the Blue Jays were going to win the American League East. Now, in my infinite stupidity, I also took the Athletics to win the American League West. And I'm sure some of your listeners saw me taking a victory lap a little bit too early when they were just a game and a half out of first place and in a wild card position pretty early in the season prior to their I don't know, what was it, a 17 game skid or so. I can't, I guess you can't claim that you were right and also not catch the spots where you were wrong. The Blue Jays, I am not surprised by it at all. I think what that team was missing last season was the assurance that they were going to have Vlad Guerrero in their future. And now that they have that team going forward can look at that as a key piece, a central piece, and then the lineup as a whole. I think last time we talked about them getting Jimenez, and I expected him to be a much bigger piece for this team. Although he has produced in some key spots, and he has hit some home runs that I haven't really expected. What I haven't expected from the team, though, is this resurgence that we've gotten from George Springer. Bo Bichette suddenly has a power swing that he didn't have before. And Addison Barger is breaking out in a way that I, as somebody who liked him, didn't really fully expect. I was looking at his numbers early in the season, and frankly, the guy hit everything hard. Everything's a hard hit ball off his bat. And there was one point where he was hitting like 220, on base percentage under 300, slugging under 400. But all of his numbers, similar to Soto and similar to Vlad Guerrero last year, were hard hit baseballs. He was hitting baseballs at a hard hit rate greater than guys like Shohei Ohtani. And I just viewed this as something that he had to make in terms of a mechanical change in his swing. He apparently made it. He started elevating the ball, started producing at a great level. And what you have here is just a team full of guys who mash. If you look at the hard hit leaders, you've got guys on there like Barger, Vlad Guerrero, Alejandro Kirk. I think they got Bo Bichette would be on there. They just have it's a team that's overloaded with sluggers, and it doesn't necessarily mean sluggers in terms of the home run, but guys who are producing by way of hard hit baseball, be it in the outfield or over the fence. So I've been impressed with that team, but that is one that is a little bit more what I expected versus what you're getting from some of the other teams, especially those Tigers.
If we're going to make the assumption that the Dodgers are the best team in the NL, who's next and who needs to make the big addition? Is it the Cubs, the Phillies, the Mets? What has to be done to close the gap tightly?
So there's two things I'm going to say on that is, of course, the Phillies fan in me wants to say, hey, the Phillies right there, they're just missing one key piece. They need a bullpen piece. They could use an extra outfielder. I don't think that that's the case. And putting my unbiased baseball hat on, I think that team is the Cubs. I think the Cubs are actually probably the best overall team in terms of, I think when you put in that durability factor, the Dodgers rotation, of course, has just been steamrolled with injuries, not unlike what the Braves have seen. The Cubs, relatively healthy. They lost a key piece in Justin Steele, of course.
Got about 30 seconds, Ryan.
Already. The Cubs lost their key piece in Steele, but you're getting that breakout season from PCA that they had long been expecting, and MVP level stuff from him, getting great production from the lineup. So the Cubs, to me, are the front runner in the National League.
He's Ryan Spader. Follow him at the Ace of Spader, Spaeder, strong in his opinions and willing to back them up. Ryan, thanks for your time. We really appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
For over 50
All right,
years, the
gentlemen.
Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
David, I'm believing this to be true. I just saw the Big O reposted a post he got, or he saw that he follows or whatever. And it says, has your team won a playoff game in the 21st century? And the guy, reposted this GIF with, "This is our year, baby," hashtag fins up. The Miami Dolphins are the only team in the NFL that has not won a playoff game this century.
Centuries are 1 to 100. And if you're counting seasons, I think their last playoff win, well, Bill Clinton was president, their last playoff win. But I think it also took place December 31st, 2000. But yes.
I just didn't realize every other team had won one.
Well,
that's fascinating.
Yeah. Mark, I'll go further. I was thinking the other day about how absurd it is that the Cowboys get the media attention that they get. How many teams have had a longer drought since being in the conference championship game? And besides the fact that the Texans and the Browns, Cleveland hasn't been in the conference title game since before the move. So their last conference title game was the 89 season. And the Texans have never been in the conference championship game. The Dolphins haven't been since the 92 season. But I think they're the only three teams, Mark, whose championship game drought is longer than the Cowboys.
Staggering.
Yep. Canada Relief, you didn't know that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were going to do what? Grant Hill and Tim Duncan together.
Just for the record, Michael, Phil Steele doesn't even have that guy starting this year, okay? He has the freshman starting at Colorado. First round pick? Are you nuts?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour on this first Monday of July, back after the 4th of July holiday. Hope you had a nice holiday with friends and family. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Glenn Davis in about 40 minutes. We'll talk the U.S. men's national soccer team. Next time we see them and anything of importance, it'll be the World Cup in 11 months. What did we learn, if anything, from the B team that played in the Gold Cup and lost in the championship match to Mexico last night 2-1? Talk to Glenn Davis about that coming up. Hey, I'd like to bring up something that you were talking about during a commercial break, if that's okay.
All right.
Probably should have let you know I was going to bring this up. But so you said you and your son on vacation started doing your own sports radio show, I guess.
Well, he did at least 3 NHL network radio shows during free agency, in which he is not very happy of what happened to his, what his beloved Red Wings did not do.
Well,
but he was David, he was like you on a Hall of Fame ballot on July 1st. I mean, he was on X all morning with eager anticipation for his team and my team for that matter, but he cares more than I do. He's 26 after all. To get somebody, and Miller, your defenseman there with the Rangers, gets dealt to Carolina. A few other things didn't go the way that the Red Wings had hoped. So that was his own personal show, to which I giggled for about 40 minutes.
Did you at one point say, yeah, this Stevie Y thing isn't working as well as it did in Tampa?
It's there are a lot of people questioning the Iser plan right now.
Yeah, the Iser plan. Okay, what's the plan? Acquire guys that aren't good enough and not pay real money to the guys that are? But I digress. But apparently you guys started on a what's the best sports city in America? What are you
Yeah.
hosting a sports talk show in July and need to fill some segments?
We
What?
we drank 200 beers in a week. We had things we needed to talk about.
So I don't know what day and time it was that you got around to best sports city in America. Hello.
It it was just something I don't even know who said it to whom, and we started talking. And obviously, because of my love of my teams, even though he's never lived in Michigan a day in his life, he likes the Tigers and Wings a lot, the Wings first. And he's got his teams between his mother and I, who he likes. And we just started talking about what's the best sports town. And part of it was when we went from where we rented a place, we were about an 8-minute drive from where my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, her family's place. And we spent a couple of afternoons with because it's my sister-in-law, my wife's sister-in-law's family, and her brother was there and her father was there. And obviously my brother-in-law, and they're all from Pittsburgh. So they only talk about one thing, and that's Pittsburgh sports. And that's kind of where it started, because they're all in on all of their teams. And their teams will see what the Steelers do, but the other two are bad right now. The Penguins are old and have nothing coming up in the system. The Pirates are incredibly cheap and have a great pitcher who we all know they're going to lose at some point. So that's where it started, because Pittsburgh is a great sports town. But can you be the best sports city in America when you don't have a team in every league? And as much as I give them a hard time to their face and on this show, it's hard to not put Boston at the top of that list. If they're not the top sports city, they're in the top 3. Boston, their affinity for their teams is unbelievable, and we all know how they act when their teams are good. And that's why we don't like their fan base. The problem is, for the last 20 years, their teams have been pretty damn good. So it was just something we started talking about. And I think someone was, whether we had something on, and they were talking about what a great sports city New York is. And we just kind of looked at one another and said, is it? Is New York a great sports? New York's a great city. I don't know if it's a great sports town. You and I have talked about it. Their favorite sport's basketball. No one outside of the metropolitan New York area seems to understand that. And we saw it this year with the Knicks being really good and St. John's resurgence.
I would argue it's baseball with basketball a close second, but that baseball and basketball are so much more popular than the NFL that it's difficult for most of the rest of the country to comprehend it. My definition is what makes, so do the teams have to be successful for
I
it
don't
to be
think so.
a great sports city? I would hope not.
I would think it's partially defined by when the teams aren't great.
The fact that how should we look at the Denver sports fan? In one sense, they're completely obsessed with the Broncos. That the Avs and the Nuggets and the Rockies get virtually no oxygen. The Broncos are it. Even though, obviously, the Avs and the Nuggets here have won championships very recently. That's cute. That's nice. Who's going to be the quarterback for the Broncos? Now that we have Bo Nix, that's all they talk about out there. It's all they talk about. And that's when the Avs and the Broncos are in the middle of a playoff run. They talk the Broncos in Denver. But by the same token, Mark, the Rockies are top 10 in attendance in baseball. Is that an indictment of the Denver sports fan? Or should we give them a whole hell of a lot of credit that, hey, they love their teams? The Avs place is packed. Nuggets place is packed. Places have been packed, by the way, whether they're competing for championships or not.
I think San Francisco never gets talked about as a great sports city. It's an amazing baseball city. 49er fans, I know they're not in San Francisco anymore, but obviously it's one of the more loyal fan bases in the sport. The Sharks, but obviously Golden State has done tremendously well, but that's partially because of their success here in the last 15 years.
Yeah, it's funny. I think there's a good chunk of San Francisco that would go, we don't really claim the Sharks. San Jose, it's cute. It's I guess when the Warriors were bad, we paid a little bit of attention in the spring, but we don't really claim them. Who plays for them again? I digress.
And then, someone in the chat room brought up Cleveland. And part of me says, and I know it's just hockey, but when you've had pro teams that have left because no one went to the games, and the Cavs post LeBron until last year, they largely took that off. The Jake was packed for a long time. It's not anymore. And, obviously the Browns are the Browns. If you're basing it on NFL fan bases, they would be near the top of the list. So, I mean, Philadelphia gets brought up a lot.
And it's a great sports city.
It is.
It is. They care every day about a lot of their teams every day. They do. Now, they're angry at a couple of them right now. Flat out angry.
That's a good thing. See, that to us, Miller and Moulton, that is what makes you a great sports city. When you're extremely angry at the way your teams are performing and the way the front offices are handling things, that means you care.
I know we're up against a break here, but did you see Sophie Cunningham's statement? WNBA made an announcement while you were on vacation. They're going to expand. And they're going to go, I think, to Philadelphia, Detroit, and Cleveland. And Sophie was caught on a hot mic saying, well, Detroit and Cleveland. Yep. Boy, players can't wait to go there.
Well, and then she named 3 other cities that should have franchises. I mean, she knew she was on a mic, and she named Miami, Kansas City, and another.
In Nashville.
Why are we going to Detroit and Cleveland?
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
If we need a list, David, The Athletic put out an article. I don't know if I just saw it, of the top 100 rivalries in college football.
Well, what was great that year, Irish football, was that they played everybody good. You know, Miami finished number 2. They played them. Their last game of the regular season was at USC when USC was undefeated number 3. And then they played undefeated number 3, West Virginia, in the Fiesta Bowl. So, what was cool that year was that, you go back and look at the final top 5, I think they beat everybody in it. Now, Miami was the better team. They played a sloppy game at Notre Dame. Notre Dame got a huge break from the officials. Miami was going in for a touchdown. He was clearly down at the 1. They ruled it a fumble. It wasn't. If we had replay then, I think Miami probably wins that game. But Jimmy Johnson went for 2. He didn't have to. Morning, Grizzle.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until Glenn Davis will join us at the top of the bonus hour on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Mark back after his family vacation on this first Monday in July. Final week before the baseball all-star break. Final week of Wimbledon. Week before the Open Championship, although they crossed the pond this week for the Scottish Open. Top 5 players in the world will all be playing in it. Spieth's hurt. I know he's going to try to play in the Open Championship, but he's not playing this week. His wrist is bothering him again. This bears watching.
Agreed. Because believe it or not, despite that, he's been playing better this year.
Yep.
And he thought he was past that.
Yep. And the thing about Spieth is he can get up and down from anywhere because he can roll it. And that's why I think he can still win a big tournament because, man, can he roll it.
And the Open Championship, probably the place where you can sometimes get away with hitting it a little more erratically off the tee and still be able to make shots.
Mark Seve won it 3 times. What are you trying to say? Remember the first time he won it, he beat Hale Irwin. Irwin said, I've never seen anybody hit the ball so badly and score so well. Literally hit a shot from a parking lot that year. And by the way, when he won it, it was the British. I don't know what they're playing now.
So, Open Championship in a couple of weeks. I was even surprised. I mean, they're showing the Scottish Open on like NBC next week.
No, it's CBS. CBS has had it just the 3rd year in a row. It's been on CBS. I know.
Right, but I'm sorry, but when they they do the rundown towards the end of the tournament yesterday, and I had the John Deere on. I had just gotten home after driving. We made it to Savannah in day 1 and got up and drove home from Savannah yesterday morning. And by the way, just quick sidebar. My goodness, does my wife need to stop a lot on a trip? Unbelievable. Making great time.
Right. Uh-huh. Yep. Got to go to the bathroom.
Wife had to stop more than the daughter. But towards the end of the John Deere, they show all the tours and where they're playing next week and what networks it's on. And I'm sorry I didn't see CBS, but I just saw network coverage of the Scottish Open. I was like, damn, really? I thought that was a Golf Channel only kind of thing.
What shocked me was, how did that thing not end up on NBC? They're already over there.
Right.
They're getting ready for, next week, a major. Why are they not doing the Scottish Open? Listen, you know what happened here, okay? The CBS announce crew and the CBS executives are like, wait, we get to go to Scotland? Because don't kid yourself. They're playing golf before and after the Scottish Open.
Right.
The important
this is vacation time because they obviously aren't doing the British. So that gives them time. And, I know this from my co-host guy over here. These guys who do production have a lot of miles.
Yes, they do.
And they're going to use them to maybe bring their wives over or use their miles to get hotels for a couple of extra days. And this is basically a freebie vacation for a lot of these, because they've got the next week off.
Okay. One of the funniest things is to walk onto a plane and to see the entire first class filled with nothing but behind the scenes people at the network. That sometimes if the travel secretary doesn't book the announcers travel early enough, that the crew gobbles up every first class seat. And every now and then you'll see a network TV announcer sitting in the very first row behind first class. And what that means is it's in their contract to fly first class, but the travel department screwed up. Okay. And the crew gobbled up all the seats. So they're in the best seat they could get them with the most leg room, and hopefully they won't complain to management.
By the way, text line is open. It's always open at 21,000. David did a great job of replying to all of you last week. I'm amazed he was able to do it every day and not ask for instructions. That in of itself was a remarkable accomplishment. But this texter says, since the beginning of time, when traveling, the wife will kill your travel time with bathroom stops.
Totally.
Amen, brother. Amen.
That's why I travel solo.
I thought about you a lot driving because, and I've said this on the show, I am petrified of heights. I just am. I am scared of heights. I don't particularly like driving in the mountains, on bridges. They freak me out. They just do. So as we were getting towards the mountains, and I drove all of day 1 and through North Carolina into Virginia on day 2, and we needed gas. And I just said, honey, bring us home from here. You can do the rest. And when we left the mountains, I said, you get us to North Carolina, and I'll take over. So she did a great job driving. No complaints. One complaint. She uses cruise control.
What?
And on her car, she uses, and I'm fine with cruise control. The problem is cruise control now on most cars, or at least on hers, is that adaptive cruise. So you start slowing down based on the car in front of you. It picks up so you don't ram the car from behind. And you can't press the car in the left lane if you're going the same speed as them, if you know what I mean. You can't get around them. And when going up and down mountains, there were times in which I wanted a little bit more, but I just decided to shut up and not say anything. But I let her drive the mountains. She went to college in Colorado. She's used to that stuff. I'm not. I'm from Michigan. It's as flat as it is here.
Say I-75 north and south.
Right. So women can slow down a road trip. That's all I know. But I did think of you, David. I remember when you made the trip from Dayton to Raleigh for FGCU, or Dayton to Charlotte.
It was Dayton to Charlotte.
So as I'm taking 77 and up that way, which is, I know the way that you eventually had to come through. I was just thinking about you. I'm going, this doesn't look like a fun drive at 3 a.m.
Going through the mountains of West Virginia. Oh,
right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I
no sleep.
Right. I'm like, that's yeoman's work right there.
That's a 44-ounce cola. That's what that is. Okay. In fact, that drive is 2 44-ounce colas.
Yes.
All right. Because that you load up at the beginning, you fill up the gas, you get as much caffeine, you go to the car needs gas again. And then you get more caffeine. Let's go.
But I was thinking about that trek from many years ago when you were broadcasting FGCU and they won the play-in game in Dayton.
Yep.
And then played 2 days later in Charlotte, and you basically left after the game and drove from Dayton to Charlotte, one stop in between because you had to do the show.
Well, no, here's what really sucked, not to bore everybody. The games were in Raleigh, but at the time, we were working for the radio station, which is Beasley Broadcasting. Their affiliate was in Charlotte. So to set up and do the show, they said, well, you can do the show from the affiliate. I'm like, yeah, Charlotte's 3 hours from Raleigh. It's closer to me to get to Raleigh. They're like, well, we'll set you up to do the show at the affiliate. So I had to drive an additional 2-3 hours just to do our show. And then had to do our show and then drive the 3 hours to Raleigh to do the game. And then drive back to Charlotte do the show the next day. Couldn't stay in Raleigh. The good old days. Pulling 2 all-nighters. Listen, this is part of the reason why everybody who comes to us and talks about wanting to get in this business, we strongly urge them not to. But we did a show on a Monday afternoon, and I got in the car. I went to the airport in Southwest Florida, flew to Atlanta, got in a rental car at like 9:30 at night, and drove to Dayton. Slept 3 hours, did the 4-hour show, did the game, got in the car, and drove to Charlotte. So you could imagine how thrilled I was when the bosses said, well, you need to drive an additional 3 hours to our Charlotte studios. Okay, we can put you up there. We're not paying to put you up in Raleigh. Great.
Yes, and for those of you, thinking, well, the play-by-play part's the big money. If you have a network job, even at the highest level, it's not always the greatest job. NFL, pretty good. Major League Baseball, pretty damn good. If you're on the TV side of baseball. But yes, there's a lot more of us struggling than making it big. But we still love it every single morning
I'd do
and
it
are
again.
very happy to be here. There's no doubt about that.
Even at my age, okay, I would do. That was 9 years ago. I'd do it again. I would. I was nuts, absolutely nuts, bat blank crazy to do it. Exhausted. I'd do it again. That damn love of play-by-play. Why did I want to grow up to be a play-by-play guy? Unbelievable. It's the only thing that kept me going. You said, see, the management threw my words right back at me. You said you'd do anything to call these games. I did say that, didn't I?
21,000, the text line missing to the show, millerandmoulton.com or anywhere that you download your podcast. Glenn Davis coming up in a little more than 10 minutes time. The U.S. men's soccer team losing last night 2-1 to Mexico in the Gold Cup final. We'll see what Glenn thinks about the U.S. men's national team with a year now in front of the World Cup. That was the biggest game they will play between now and then, and see what positives he takes from the loss. Because I've got to be honest with you, watched a pretty good chunk of it. We didn't have the ball very much, David.
No, we didn't. I'll say this, though. I watched them in the quarters and the semis. First off, they played much harder than I've seen us play recently, number one. Number two, they weren't flopping and diving. We got back to playing like Americans do. Okay, seriously, the Americans played that match like they were hockey players last night. They just got up. Okay, they looked at some of the Mexican players sometimes with disgust, like, oh, please, give me a break. That's how we used to play soccer. In recent years, we start faking it, rolling around like everybody else.
That's because our best players now are all playing across the pond, which you go back 10 years ago, 12 years ago. That wasn't the case.
Right.
Our best players weren't good enough to play in the top-level European leagues. Now they are. None of them played on this Gold Cup team. So we'll see what Glenn thinks about the U.S. men's national team after the loss to Mexico yesterday.
Also, I thought, Mark, not to overanalyze this, but in recent years, I haven't thought we've had a whole lot of goal scoring potential. I'd watch other countries and I'm like, oh, they got 3-4 guys who scare the blank out of me. I thought we had 2-3 guys up front who actually could put the ball in the back of the net. And I'm like, huh.
Well, and I didn't see that yesterday, but you obviously saw it more in the quarterfinal and the semifinal game. But they need that. We've lacked a quality striker,
right,
that we've never really had, unless you want to say it was Landon Donovan, and that's 20 years ago.
Well, and he wasn't a striker. Right. You got to go back to like Altidore, which also is 15 years ago, really, in his prime. So anyway, Glenn Davis, we'll talk a little bit about that coming up. I don't think people are as bent out of shape anymore about who made the All-Star game and who didn't, as they used to be. For what it's worth, this is the biggest part of the baseball All-Star game. They're going back to teams. The guys are wearing their own uniforms again.
Thank goodness. That's what we want to see. We talked about it earlier. If you're a fan of a bad team, you want to see your guy in your uniform.
Yep.
For however long he plays.
Yep. And so that they're going back to that. Thank goodness.
Pirates fans get their one guy. How much longer they'll have him, we don't know. But while they watch the All-Star game, they want to watch Skeens wear the Pirates uniform when he plays for the National League. Miller and Moulton. Glenn Davis coming up on the other side. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks lie peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, Virtue, I'm not speaking out of school here. David will probably just reiterate it when he comes back. He's always said CBS is the cheapest of the networks because he's worked for Fox, CBS, and now ESPN. What his point was, though, Virtue, is that those guys get moved up not because of the network, but because of their miles. So when you're traveling as much as the guys are, they're the first ones upgraded. They don't get first class seats because they're behind the scenes guys. They get moved to first class because of the status they have on the airlines.
Right. So they upgrade themselves because they have so many points. I mean, especially if you do golf. Oh my goodness, you have miles.
I did not crack a beer on the 4th of July until it was after the hot dog eating contest, probably about 1:30. But that was literally our last day, and I was beat. I mean, we were up late every night. Every night. They had in the house we rented, they had the Big Buck video game.
Okay.
And my daughter and my son and I played that every day. And my daughter got nearly good enough to beat my son, who is an avid outdoorsman and hunter. And here's my 11-year-old shooting the gun like she's Annie Oakley off the hip and it was hysterical. Hysterical. Not a game. Not enough euchre players, DTW. The only ones that played it are me and my mom, and I didn't feel like teaching my wife and my son for that matter. Only thing I have about Disco Night is that I was watching it. They were airing game 2 on the over-the-air network that carried the Tigers, and they came on, and you got George Kell and I can't remember the other guy's name, Paul something or other, the TV guys. And they're like, well, we've got some problems here.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this first Monday of July. Hope you had a good 4th of July holiday. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day win, about 35 minutes away. He is the lead voice of the Houston Dynamo. He's been broadcasting soccer for decades. That's after playing it professionally for nearly 2 decades. He's Glenn Davis. You can follow him on X at Glenn Davis SOC. Glenn Davis SOC. Glenn, it's David and Mark. A belated happy 4th. How are you?
David, Mark, doing well. Looking forward to talking some soccer with you guys. As you guys know, down here in Texas, we've had a really, really brutal time here. It's kind of hard to talk about soccer after all the flooding in the hill country, but yeah, our hearts are certainly leaning towards everybody who's involved with this and have lost loved ones. It's pretty brutal.
It really is, and our hearts go out to all those in Texas, obviously, and having gone through some storms here in the past few years in Florida, we understand what this can be like, and it's certainly devastating to say the very least. All right, help me out, Glenn. I did not watch the quarters or semis. I was on vacation last week and kind of tuned out, but I got home yesterday, turned the game on, and I knew it was not our A team. It was our B team. A lot of these guys will not be World Cuppers. They did not possess the ball a whole lot yesterday. An early goal. What did you take from this on the positive side?
Well, I think on the positive side, look, in the absence of others, people gain a lot of experience, right? If a team doesn't have the likes of Anthony Robinson, Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, that means there's opportunity for others to kind of grab the platform of being a leader on a team and in a tournament that's important for growth and broadening out the depth of a roster. So I think that's number one. I think you also saw a number of players along the same lines go through probably the biggest game of their life in front of 70,000 people. Guys like Max Arfston, Eric Freeman, the right back, Patrick Agyemang up front. These guys got an experience that they've never had on a football field in their life. So I always think there are a lot of positives to take out of this. Look, in the picture of U.S.-Mexico, everybody just wants to win, right? And we really feel it down in this market because Mexico plays here a lot, and Energy Stadium becomes the home of the Mexican national team because of the support that they get. So, but those to me are some things. And then, of course, the manager, Mauricio Pochettino, is able to make some judgment and assess certain players as he seeks out the future of what his roster is going to look like for a World Cup.
Did you think that was a handball in the box and should have been a penalty in the 66th minute?
You know what I think? I think soccer has some of the most nebulous rules. From offside to that. I mean, in my day, that's a handball every minute. Now it's, he was going to the ground and it wasn't a natural position. The only place he could put his hand was on the ball. I just wish these things were a little clearer. But I don't think that should be the focus. At the end of the day, the Mexican national team was the better soccer team.
What you said, the experience that we gained, and there's no doubt, because these players, if we had our A team, a lot of them wouldn't have been on the pitch last night. Who gained the most experience? Who are guys that you looked at last night and went, okay, I like their development. They're going to help out a year from now a lot.
Yeah, I think Chris Richards is the guy I go directly to, the center back. He seems to be becoming more of a leader. I think he's been able to step up in that role in this tournament. I thought he was exceptional in the air against Mexico. He just seems to be growing into a bigger presence. He seemed like an athlete back there to me when I watch him at Crystal Palace. But I see him being a bigger personality now for the U.S. In the center back position, and I think that's a very, very big deal. And the other thing I would say about him is, he had to go up against a pretty savvy striker. He did get pulled out of the middle a little bit last night by Raul Jimenez, the Mexican striker. But he's the one I go to in this tournament as really blossoming his game from the standpoint of presence and leadership.
Listen, obviously, I know 1% of the sport that you know, but I do watch this team a lot. I thought we played a little bit of the way we used to play in this tournament. First off, I thought we played hard. I thought we played with passion. If we don't always have the most skill, we used to play with a lot of passion. I liked how this team played. I also thought we were a little dangerous at times on the attack, and particularly, whether it was the striker or what have you. And lately, I haven't felt us being dangerous, except, our midfielders have been our best players. Am I just a novice and I don't know what I'm talking about? Or was there actually some things that this team did that we used to do 10 or so years ago?
Well, I think you said it. They reclaimed their fight and spirit. I don't think nobody's going to be able to say that this team didn't fight collectively in this tournament. I think they did. I think they grew. I think the other beautiful thing is that guys like Pulisic and others saw them have success in this tournament, and they have to watch from the outside and then reacclimate themselves back into the national team with some guys that were a big, big part of this. Now, look, the competition's different in the Gold Cup. I think the U.S. kept walking up the ladder, but I'll be honest with you. I think you said something not that I've been dishonest. I will say that you made a statement at the beginning of this interview about the possession game. It was 60-40 Mexico. That's too big of a gap. And if you can't have times in the game where you can get the ball and hold it for a little while, it makes it for a tough night. And I think Mexico's possession game did wear down the U.S. The young midfielders, Gilberto Mora, Marcelo Ruiz, Edson Alvarez, I think they wore the U.S. down. And I think that's something you have to say when you play these teams. How do you grab a little bit more of the possession? Because it's time for a pause. The other thing is the U.S. didn't have any verticality when they were defending deep with all that Mexico possession. There's really nobody up front that could be a good enough target to scare or threaten them in behind. So it makes it even more difficult. I didn't think Patrick Agyemang held the ball very well at all, and they needed him to step up in that situation to do that, to relieve some pressure.
I'm a hockey guy by nature. So when I watch soccer, I watch it kind of with a hockey mentality of breaking out of your zone. And the one thing, kind of to your point, was, to me, at many times, trying to get out of our own end, the passing wasn't crisp enough. Is that an accurate statement? And if so, it seems that that's a simple improvement. Can that be done? Because it just seemed that when we did get the possession of the ball, we gave it back too quickly because we were unable to complete 2 or 3 consecutive passes.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair, and I think a lot of that comes with having to defend for so long. I think people are, well, Diego Luna's got to step up as a star in this game. Well, Diego Luna spent most of the game defending. I mean, you have to put it in context a little bit. Yes, he needs to make plays. By the way, I think we're anointing him a star a little bit too quickly. He's a very talented, gritty player. There's a lot we're enamored with. But let's give him a chance to grow before we put the star label on him. But I think you're right. And listen, if you go back to the Guatemala game, 2/3 of that game, Guatemala had the pressure on the U.S. We had an incredible start, scored 2 great goals. That was Luna scoring the goals against Guatemala. But after that, that wasn't a comfortable result. You were under pressure for a large portion of that game, and we're never able to reclaim control of it. So, I think these are things you look at overall as a team. And again, it's not the full national team, so there's context to it. But I think it was a great tournament for learning and everything. Anybody who's just there for the results is not going to be happy, though.
Is 11 months enough time for the really talented guys who didn't play in the Gold Cup to join the guys that did? And with this new manager,
and I'm going to take a little different, everybody's, well, this was the last competitive game, and okay, I get it. But look, this is a short tournament for 3 or 4 weeks. The guys that aren't here, if in fact they end up being the part of it, like we assume they will be, we're not making decisions for the manager. That's why he's there, Pochettino. You come together in World Cups. These guys like McKennie, Adams, Pulisic had a great last World Cup. Well, not a great, but a great one in the standpoint of they were very young. They got out of the group. They were up against the wall. They had to put tremendous energy into the group stages to get out. So they've got that experience to lean on. And I think people galvanize around a short tournament. You'll have the country behind you. And how do you take that pressure and do you mold it into a diamond?
Do we have enough goal scoring? When the World Cup comes around, can we put the ball in the net enough? Do we have enough talent to score with good elite nations?
Yeah, it's always the biggest issue around us, the center forward position and the striker position and natural born goal scorers. That still remains a question. Who's going to be the striker? Fowler and Balogun, Ricardo Pepi. Ajiman's a big physical athlete, but can't see him as the starter right now. So we'll see. And I think a lot of that will have to do with, in this next year, the form of guys in their clubs. And then that information's taken and they pick who it's going to be. I had a lot of hope for Fowler and Balogun, but, he's had some injury struggles and things. And Ricardo Pepi's also coming back from an injury. So I think there's a lot of questions there.
Got about 30 seconds. Boy, that Mexican national team in Houston, you guys are going to host, 7 matches? I think Mexico's got their hand up saying, can we just play there all the time?
Yeah. Well, the Mexican national team knows where the money trail is, and it's not playing in Mexico. Let's just leave it at that.
Glenn, we appreciate you making time for us. We're sorry for what you and all your Texans have suffered here recently. And we hope that somehow slowly things get better and that we can talk again down the road.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, as always.
Glenn Davis. Soccer Matters is his weekly podcast in Houston, and he's the television voice of the Houston Dynamo as well. Glenn Davis SOC, S-O-C. Glenn Davis SOC is how you can follow him on X. Miller and Moulton. Hey, thanks for being with us.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239 566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, I understood like when they explained why it wasn't a handball, but I'm trying to I don't know when that rule changed, David.
I don't agree with the explanation.
No, I mean, I understood the explanation. I'm with
Yeah.
you. I mean, I understood what they said, but did his hand touch the ball in the box?
Put his hand on the ball in the box.
I mean,
I always
thought
it was absurd, like if I come charging at you and you kick the ball and it hit my hand and my hand is
not if your arm's not tucked to your body, basically. Right.
But I always thought that was kind of a cheap penalty, bad break. Now if I'm extending my arms, but now that's why you see the guys, they take their arms and they just go like this and they turn away. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Mexico was better, but I mean, it would have been interesting if you get a penalty there and you score. In the 66th minute, we're up 2-1. My guess is he starts emptying the bench with different substitutions. And by the way, the free kick that they awarded on the goal that Mexico ended up scoring to win the match, that was totally bogus. The guy dove. God, it's the part of soccer. Especially after just watching the Stanley Cup playoffs for 2 months. God almighty, watching big time soccer embarrasses me.
It's funny. My sister-in-law's brother, he's a big soccer head. And it's because he said we're sitting there the first day. He goes, you do sports talk, right? If I remember right. Yeah. And so we started talking a little bit. And And then, he got in, said he, kind of like that he played soccer and stuff. So I don't care to talk about what I do for a living. I started just interviewing him. And both Jake and I, asking him, because Jake's from Raleigh and that's where he lives. And he lives in Chapel Hill and, plays soccer regularly with guys. And that's a huge soccer area. The
really?
Research Triangle area is a big participant.
Okay.
I think they've got a second level team like they have here now, but it's big. And just their excitement toward, their incredible optimism towards the U.S. national team, with no reason at all to have optimism towards our team.
How?
It's me 20 years ago having optimism that our country would start watching hockey, David. There was no reason to think that they would, but you looked at the number of kids playing and thought that would translate into TV numbers or whatever the case may be.
How could you watch us play soccer and watch the rest of the world play soccer and be enthusiastic about our chances on the world stage? I mean,
yeah, Canada Relief, I never take relief on our women's team doing anything because this country invented women's sports at the highest level. We were so far ahead of the rest of the world when we started. We should be great.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. David Sampson back on the show tomorrow. He had last week off also.
I saw that he had sent the text. I didn't respond, but from the looks of it, I think he was by a lake for a week.
Oh, good for him.
I saw a post or two of him boating on the 4th of July. So I think he was doing lake life as well.
So David Sampson on the show tomorrow. A lot to talk about in baseball. Lots to talk about throughout the sports world. 52 and 59 days away from the start of the college and pro football seasons. Can I interview you for a few minutes?
Sure.
You said you spent a good chunk of your vacation listening to college football podcasts and reading Phil Steele's preseason publication.
I spent one day with the magazine, the one rainy day, but I did the first 4 mornings, and then my wife started joining me for my walk. So then I couldn't listen to the. I kind of want, you can't say, "Hey, can I come walk with you?" No, I want to listen to Bud Elliott Summer School.
So you can't look right at her and go, "Well, sure, you can come walk with me, but I'm going to be listening to Bud Elliott's podcast."
No,
No,
I could have, David, but that would have been rude.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So I did take in a lot of the Bud Elliott Summer School. For those of you who like Bud Elliott on our show, and I don't know many that don't like him, he does. He didn't do as many. Thought it was funny. I'm listening to the Texas podcast that he did, and he goes, "We try to do every school." And the Texas guy says, "I don't know. When I was on the FAU beat for 2 years, I don't remember you calling me."
Boom. Hello. That's funny. All right. The interview is about to begin. So, which team or teams do you think you now have a mini crush or higher opinion on than you did 10 days ago?
Notre Dame, first and foremost. And I do not have a crush on them. I will never have a crush on them. That will not happen.
In fact, it is the team that you dislike the most.
In maybe all of sport. I mean, pro and college. I don't know if there's anyone that I dislike more than the Irish. They're going to be really good. If CJ Carr is above average, they could play for the Natty. They're good. They're loaded.
Do need to point out, Mark is a proud Catholic, by the way. I just want to make sure that everybody knows where this angst is coming from. It's purely sport.
It's growing up a Michigan State fan. We weren't very good. My grandfather was a diehard Spartan. His brother Jack was a diehard Notre Dame fan. And unfortunately, Jack was an alcoholic, so he would be a bit obnoxious. And you never heard the end of Notre Dame. And he was obnoxious because he was drunk all the damn time. So I think that's where it started. And then they would just beat my Spartans like a drum. And when I got to college and Holtz was there, very early in my college career at Michigan State, the opening kickoff, Blake Ezor caught the ball on the 1.5 yard line. His momentum was carrying him backward. He kneeled the ball down in the end zone. It was 2-0 Notre Dame. They kicked the ball off to this Ishmael guy.
Yeah, I think they nicknamed him Rocket.
Yeah, he ran it back 9-0. And then I think Sparty threw a pick six, and it was 15, 18 seconds into the game, and it was 16-0. So, that just – but they are going to be very good. They have some good games early. Arkansas, A&M. They have after
Miami.
that, Miami. I mean, but if they can manage the first part of their schedule, they can run the damn table. The other one is Clemson. That's going to be very good. I don't know. I don't trust Cristobal in Miami. They've got the talent. We'll see if Beck plays well for the Canes, but I think Clemson's a class of the ACC. I probably didn't dive deep enough into the SEC. I'm very curious about Texas. They're the most intriguing team to me because one of the things they talked about was Arch last year when he played. Sarkisian even said after, I got to put more intermediate routes in. He put Arch in, and basically it was all deep routes. They've got to get Arch a little more. And he in the games against bad teams, he played well. But I'll be curious about Texas. That's a team I'm interested in. But I do think that, outside of the big two conferences, Notre Dame and Clemson are going to be playoff teams.
Is there a team in which you did a little research, you listened to a podcast or two, and you came away thinking, yeah, I got to jump off that wagon this year?
I don't know if I was on any wagons before. With that being said, it's UCF. What are they going to do in Scott Frost year one? Expectations are make a bowl game. The bar's not set very high. You and I have talked about the Knights a lot in the past couple of years. The enthusiasm from the fan base about joining the Big 12 has been great. It really has. But at what point is the fan base going to start being annoyed with the move to the Big 12 and being at the bottom end of the Big 12? I will say, lastly, Alabama is the one SEC team that if they get quarterback play, they have elite receivers. Elite. And I'm curious what they do in year two with the new coach. So I think Alabama, I think people are already writing the Crimson Tide off in the non-Saban era, and I think you're writing them off a little quickly.
UCF, for the record, barring the unforeseen, will open up in 52 days with a home win against Jacksonville State, although they did beat Auburn a few years ago in one of these situations. And then a week or so later with another home win against North Carolina A&T, at which point they'll have a bye week and 2 weeks to prepare for a home game with Bill Belichick in North Carolina. UCF should be 3-0 entering the Big 12 portion of their schedule. Now,
but the road schedule in the Big 12 is tough. They play all the good teams they play are seemingly on the road. What's the win they're going to steal on the road? And Cincinnati probably is the answer, David. If they're going to be bowl eligible, they got to figure out how to win away from the bounce house.
They play, by the way, of their 9 Big 12 games, 5 of them on the road. So simple math here, as Mark's saying. If they're an underdog in all 5 games, the 2 Big 12 teams that preseason they're playing on the road who don't look as if they will be ranked are Baylor and Cincinnati. Of course, by the times they play them, you never know what the situation will be. But there are expectations around K-State, around Texas Tech, and around BYU. And UCF plays all 3 on the road.
And I don't know if UCF's physical enough to go play a team like BYU on the road and hang. I just don't know if they are.
Final game of the regular season, by the way, at Provo. So you've been banged up all year, and now you're going to go play the 24-year-olds.
Yeah, not easy.
No. No, sir. Yeah, they better go to a bowl, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. Scott Frost, they're not going to do anything with
No,
them.
but the fan base is going to start getting agitated.
Yes.
If they're playing in this conference and they can't make it to a damn bowl game. It's like, come on already. Get us 6 wins. Get us 7 wins.
Yep. I agree. I definitely agree. Plus, there's too many teams who turn it around. They're kind of like, hey, I understand not making the tournament in basketball. I don't understand us being bad in football. That's kind of what we do in this state.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This is Miller and Moulton.
Coach Grizzle, everywhere I look, Ty Simpson is regarded as like the 10th best quarterback in the SEC. If that's the case, don't you think Alabama's going to have another 9-3 type season? And if that's the case, what is life going to be like for DeBoer in Tuscaloosa?
They have a very favorable schedule, but the three of the five best teams they play are on the road. They're at Georgia, they're at South Carolina, and they're at Auburn. Tennessee and LSU at home. But I tell you what, don't screw up against Florida State or Wisconsin.
I think Tennessee goes backwards this year. I think Tennessee takes a big step back this year.
But Grizzle, he pulled 4 5-stars. Great. They're not contributing this year. I mean,
I got to be honest, Grizzle, and all so I mean, that basically means he's keeping up with Georgia, Texas, LSU. I mean, that's what that means.
so I caught the end of it, David, because my wife and I listen. She listens. She wants it a little lighter. So I didn't. When we went to music, I've been into that Jeff Mayer Life channel. It's pretty good, and Yacht Rock. And then she wants to go to that Bridge channel, which it's a little soft for me. But we're on the way back, and I'm like, before the baseball started, I'm like, can we put on the classic or after the before the baseball? I'm like, can we put on that classic rewind at least? The cassette era. I didn't realize all weekend long they did the top 40 cassettes that turned 40. And I only caught the final 3. And it was, it was Dire Straits, and that's the Money for Nothing and Center Field. They're a huge monster. Oh, crap. Oh, the Mellencamp was 3. Because he's a monster then.
It sure was.
And number 1, and I forget just how damn big he was. The number 1 was Phil Collins.
Oh my goodness.
And you just forget how damn big Phil Collins was in 1985. And I wish I'd heard because I listened to that station enough, I would have had that on the drive for a day.
I wondered what station was playing nothing but Ozzy since he did his last show.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're out of here on this first Monday of July. David Sampson will be on the show tomorrow. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
I got to go to work now, don't I?
Well, this is kind of your thing, and we didn't do this one the whole time you were gone.
No, you did this one.
Oh, today was the day when?
I hope so. It's sponsored for
then I did it. You darned a Game Day Men's Health.
There you go.
Mention how bad Miller and Moulton are and get 10% off.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
You heard it there. Game Day Men's Health, 239-427-3441 or online, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Mention this show. You get 10% off. I probably could use a shot or two after that vacation just for resurgence. All right. We start in 1898 today. President McKinley signs the Organic Act to annex Hawaii. 1912, Jim Thorpe would win 4 of the 5 events to win the pentathlon gold medal at the Stockholm Olympics. He would be stripped of the medal a year later. It was reinstated in 1982. Up until today, you couldn't, and today in 1928, that is, you couldn't utter the phrase better than sliced bread, because it was today in 1928 that sliced bread was sold for the first time. The machine, invented by Otto Frederick Rottwetter, the greatest forward step in the baking industry since bread was wrapped. 1948, the Cleveland Indians signed 42-year-old veteran Satchel Paige. 1949, Dragnet premieres on NBC Radio. It obviously was a TV show 2 different times, and maybe one of the cheesiest movies of the 80s. 1961, Jimmy Hoffa elected chairman of the Teamsters. Today in 1968, the Yardbirds disband. Guitarist Jimmy Page recruits new members to fill concert commitments. That group would become Led Zeppelin. John Lennon releases Give Peace a Chance. Today in 69, it was recorded as they're in their bed-in a Montreal hotel room. Today in 76, for the first time in history, women are enrolled in the United States Military Academy at West Point. In 1980, these female cadets would graduate. Today in 78, Martina wins her first Grand Slam singles title at Wimbledon. She beat Chris Evert in 3 sets, 7-5 in the third. David, I think this could be one of the more underrated one-sided trades in sports history. The NBA approves a franchise swap. The owner of the Buffalo Braves, John Brown and Henry Mangurin, acquire the Boston Celtics. The Celtics get the Braves that are moved to San Diego to become the Clippers. Are you kidding me?
Wow. That seems to be a miscalculation.
Right. Borg would win his 4th Wimbledon today at 79, beating Roscoe Tanner. Today in 1980, many say the last day of rock and roll, because Led Zeppelin would unknowingly perform their final show. They did it in West Berlin, West Germany. John Bonham would die in September, and that would be the end of Led Zeppelin. Prince gets his first #1 today in 84 with When Doves Cry. Boris Becker becomes the youngest man to win a Wimbledon title at the age of 17 today in 1985. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North begins his public testimony at the Iran-Contra hearing today in 87.
And
that was riveting television.
And let me tell you, did we watch?
Yes, we did.
They turned the soap operas off for that and everything.
Let's see. The Dead play the last event at JFK Stadium in Philly 6 days before the Structures is condemned in 89. Martina wins her 9th Wimbledon in 90.
I think that was their last one.
Today in 2001, the Pepsi 400, Dale Jr., at his first appearance at Daytona since the death of his father, comes from behind. He was in 7th place with 9 laps remaining. He would beat his teammate Michael Waltrip to win the race.
Okay. Listen, I respected the hell out of Earnhardt. Rusty Wallace was my guy. And I did not jump on the Dale Jr. bandwagon because he was, junior. I remember exactly where I was when that happened. I was at the arena in Estero. I think a spring football game. I don't know if I had broadcast it, covered it, or what have you, and was watching it in the bar. And for those laps, he looked like his old man. He did. Okay, it's the only time I've ever watched him drive the car, and I thought, wow. And he even joked afterwards. He said, yeah, I did things today in which he goes, I can't explain. And when he went through, I'm telling you, he looked like the 3 car. And he was in the number 8 Budweiser. And I had tears in my eyes watching it, going, wow, this is amazing.
2012, Serena wins the Wimbledon final in 3 sets, her 5th title. Then, 5 hours later, she would team up with her sister to win the doubles title today in 2012.
Well, you know, you had to pose for pictures and, you know, get post-match spread and all. And
let's see, 2019, the U.S. women's national team wins its 4th World Cup title, its 2nd in a row. And today in 2021, the Lightning win the Stanley Cup in 5.
Montreal, right?
Yes. Satchel Paige and Ezzard Charles, 2 of the more interesting first names in sports history, with both celebrated birthdays today. David Doc Severinsen is 98 years old today. I had to look it up to make sure the site I was on wasn't wrong, that he was dead. 98.
Oh,
Band leader from The Tonight Show. Ringo Starr is 85. Golfer Tony Jacklin is 81. Downtown Freddie Brown. I love Fred Brown. He's 77. Ralph Sampson is 65. Comedian Jim Gaffigan's 59. Chuck Knobloch, 57. Joe Sakic, 56. Michael Westbrook is 53. And figure skater Michelle Kwan is 45. What did I miss, David?
nothing. All over it. Good job.
Look at
Welcome
that.
back.
First day back, and I got something right.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you got, Mark?
We go to South Carolina for the good on a highway that I was on just a couple of days ago, I-26. 2 troopers had to chase down a loose pig running through traffic on the highway.
A loose pig?
That's true, a loose pig. After a short foot chase, the pig was rescued without injury, and the troopers were able to get traffic moving again. By the way, quick sidebar, for whatever reason, South Carolina decided that I-95 only needs 2 lanes each way. You see, in Florida and Georgia, there are 3 lanes each way. And this just in, I-95 is a pretty busy highway. Maybe you want to get to work, guys. Just a suggestion. For the bad, we come back to Fort Myers, where firefighters had to respond to a dumpster fire late Friday night that was caused by discarded fireworks that had not yet cooled. Firefighters found heavy smoke and flames coming from a large dumpster that they believe started by fireworks being dumped into the trash while still hot. And for the ugly, we go to Virginia, where doctors at the University of Virginia described a case of a student there, a 23-year-old, who developed frostbite in his mouth and throat after doing nitrous containers. You know, whippets. Apparently his mouth and throat were frostbit from doing whippets. Another reason to not do whippets. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Monday, July the 7th, here on Miller and Moulton.
Don't do meth.
Right.
Not much going on this week. I mean, Wimbledon, the championships. Folks playing today are advancing to the quarterfinals. Sinner and Djokovic in action. I haven't even checked what happened today. I mean, play started at the beginning of our show. I mean, heck, 2 more seeds could have lost at this rate.
Been a rough tournament for the seeds, but fortunately, Alcaraz is still winning. And let's be honest, that's what they seem to care about.
Well, and Sinner and Djokovic, and it could be a very compelling men's Final Four. Okay, I mean, it could very well be Sinner, Alcaraz, Djokovic, and Fritz.
That would be outstanding.
Yeah. Listen, if Djokovic's going to win another major, I think this is the only place he can do it.
And this might be the last time. I mean, Father Time's undefeated. He's running out of chances. So it would be amazing to see, particularly with how well Sinner and Alcaraz are playing.
Well, yeah. I mean,
they're on top of their game.
They really are. So, 2 WNBA games tonight. Like Caitlin Clark's missed 5 games in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they won't say when she's coming back, which tells me she ain't going to play the next game either. Just going out on a limb. Their All-Star games in a week and change. It's in Indianapolis. How much pressure do you think there'll be to have her play in that All-Star game?
And if you're the Fever, why would you play her in that game?
Right.
And risk the potential of her re-injuring the groin.
Our buddy Carl Semesco, though, in the Atlanta Dream in action, they're hosting the Golden State franchise. Dream are like the 4th or 5th best team in the league right now. Rays and Tigers in Detroit, 640 FS1.
Attaway, FS1.
Yeah, a little national exposure, not just for the best team in baseball, but also for the Rays. Rays and Yankees tied. I don't know who would be the 4 and who would be the 5 in that first round best of 3 right now. Marlins in Cincinnati taking on the Reds. Dodgers in Milwaukee to face the Brewers. Dodgers reeling.
After just getting beat up by the Astros over the weekend. The Astros are on fire. The Jays are on fire.
By the way, the Phillies are in Frisco to take on the Giants. Nats supposedly are naming their interim manager later today. I love the fact they fired the GM. They at least promoted somebody from within to handle the draft since, it's Sunday. But when asked, well, who's going to be the manager? They said, give us a night to think about it. We'll get back to you.
Well, at least they're doing it more quickly than the Knicks did, David.
Well, that is true. That is true. It only took them, 28, 29 days?
Right. Right. By the way, in case you missed it, Kevin Durant is now with Houston, and whatever station you will listen to for the rest of the day, you will hear plenty about it.
Woohoo!
Moulton and Miller having trouble with the 7-team trade, trying to figure out why 5 teams essentially are going to help Houston get better with what was thrown out, because the compensation for everybody else was minimal.
Yeah, it's all like, well, I need like $1.2 million to make this work. Well, then we'll trade you this guy in a pick swap. Okay, but we need your second round pick back. Okay. And then somehow we needed 4 more teams after that? I don't get it.
And only 1 first-round draft pick in the whole thing. That's what, the second-round picks to me aren't worth a whole hell of a lot, but we shall see how it works for everybody involved in the trade. And a bunch of rookies were traded as well. So those are guys that may or may not even make the team.
Djokovic lost the first set today, 6-1. They're on serve in the second. He's taking on the 11 seed, De Minaur.
So there you have it. David Sampson on the show tomorrow. Miss any of the show, go to millerandmoulton.com to download anything you missed. Have a great day. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks lie peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David.
This is Miller and Moulton.